Chapter 1247. Lin Yuan was not a very stubborn person. He could not get an accurate answer just by thinking about it, so he simply did not spend any effort on it. Anyway, as he continued to nurture the newly hatched golden wing, it would always give him an answer. Lin Yuan estimated that after nurturing the little fellow in his hand for a period of time with dragon liver and phoenix blood, its size would quickly increase. In the end, it was very likely to reach a level that could even cover the sky like what he had seen in the golden eggshell. However, Lin Yuan had a headache at the thought of using dragon liver and phoenix blood to nurture this little fellow. Where was he going to get so much dragon liver and phoenix blood? The dragon liver and phoenix blood that he needed were not a one-time deal. As the golden wing grew, it would only consume more and more dragon liver and phoenix blood in the future. Lin Yuan had to think deeply about this problem. This was a difficult problem that he had to urgently solve. If he did not solve this problem, his golden wing could not grow. When the Mountain Sea Catalog recorded the golden wing's diet, it recorded its pickiness. It also recorded the golden wing's extremely high requirements for food. Those who eat dragon liver and drink phoenix blood are all picky and good. Otherwise, there will be no wind in the chaotic feathers. This sentence could be interpreted as when the golden wing ate dragon liver and drank phoenix blood. The dragon liver and phoenix blood had to be fresh. At the same time, the dragon liver and phoenix blood had to reach a certain level. Otherwise, the golden wing's feathers would lose their luster, and the wind patterns in the feathers would disappear. This was enough to show how picky and difficult it was to raise the golden wing. According to the level and freshness of the dragon liver and phoenix blood, it would affect the golden wing's health. Lin Yuan roughly speculated that the higher the level of dragon liver and phoenix blood the golden wing consumed, the stronger it would grow. However, Lin Yuan could not judge the level of dragon liver and phoenix blood. However, Chimey definitely did not meet the requirements. First of all, the Luan phoenix species was only a branch of the main phoenix species. Non-pure Luan phoenix blood might not guarantee the golden wing's health even if it drank it. Moreover, Chimey had used the sound bird's bloodline to devour the Luan phoenix's bloodline. As a result, there was pitifully little Luan phoenix blood in Chimey's blood. Chimey did not meet the requirements, but Little Black was a pure worm dragon fae. It could be considered a fact that it was promoted to a main dragon species. Although Little Black's dragon liver should be enough to meet the golden wing's requirements, neither Little Black nor Chimey could provide liver or blood for it. After pondering for a long time, Lin Yuan's eyes suddenly lit up. In order to obtain phoenix blood, one didn't necessarily have to kill a phoenix fae. One could also use other methods to obtain phoenix blood. There were many main phoenix species faes in the Dawn Cloud bird niche. A peak faction's resources were limited. If they wanted to expand their market, they would have to make concessions in other aspects. The main phoenix species fae's bloodline might be noble, but its growth would be accompanied by far more resource consumption than ordinary faes. As a pinnacle faction that was rapidly expanding into the market, Li Yin bird niche did not have enough resources to supply the faction's main phoenix-type fae. He felt that he could provide resources to the Li Yin avian niche's main phoenix species fae. He wanted those main phoenix species faes to willingly trade their blood with him. Under normal circumstances, none of the main phoenix species faes would be willing to let out their blood. However, as long as they used resources that were far more valuable than the phoenix blood, they would be willing to exchange for it. Furthermore, such resources could allow the main phoenix fae to obtain sufficient benefits. Lin Yuan felt that there should be no problem with his relationship with Li Yin Avian Can and Li Xian's matchmaking. That way, it could ensure that the golden wings drank the fresh phoenix blood from the source. However, the phoenix blood could be resolved, but Lin Yuan could not ask Long Tao about the dragon liver. There were plenty of dragon species faes in the Coiling Dragon Valley, so it was very easy for Lin Yuan to obtain dragon blood from Long Tao. It was also not a problem to obtain dragon species fae's essence blood. After all, both could be regenerated. However, the dragon liver was a dragon species fae's main organ that could not be regenerated. Taking out the dragon liver was the same as killing the dragon species fae. Therefore, it was far more difficult to obtain the dragon liver than the phoenix blood. However, the most convenient way to obtain the dragon liver was to look for Long Tao and see if he had any methods. Even if Long Tao did not have any methods, it was also good for Lin Yuan to trade for some dragon species fays that were easy to enhance the bloodline from the coiling Dragon Valley. Lin Yuan's 100 Questions Beast army would only grow stronger in the future, and he had plenty of Creation Master resources. Even if Lin Yuan used Creation Master resources to nurture a high-grade dragon species fey, it was not impossible for him to take the liver to nurture the golden wings. As for the golden wings eating the dragon liver and drinking the phoenix blood, they needed to absorb wind elemental energy and spirit chi. Lin Yuan did not need to worry at all. There was plenty of pure spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone. Although the dimensional rift did not produce spiritual ingredients like variant wind, the wind elemental heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls were enough to solve the problem of the golden wings needing to consume wind elemental energy. Lin Yuan looked at the little golden wings in his hand, which he did not know how many resources it would consume in the future. Lin Yuan could not help but sigh in his heart. What kind of life do I have? After contracting the source-type life form, Red Thorn, it was hard to raise it. After contracting the sacred source life form, Queen, it was hard to raise it. Now that it had contracted the golden wings with the bloodline of desolation, it was even harder to raise it. Without the spirit lock spatial zone, Lin Yuan was afraid that his own phase, source-type life forms, and sacred source life forms would completely collapse. At that moment, the little golden wings' fledgling feathers in Lin Yuan's hand were already dry. The little golden wings burrowed out of the square scarf and looked at Lin Yuan curiously. Lin Yuan had used his soul, blood, and a certain amount of spiritual energy to form a contract with the golden wings. Therefore, the golden wings and the queen could learn and grow according to the knowledge in Lin Yuan's soul. Just as Lin Yuan was about to greet the golden wings, he heard the golden wings speak first. Lin Yuan, give me a name. I will do my best to protect you in the future. After saying that, the golden wings even flapped its wings twice as though it was showing off its strength to Lin Yuan. However, just as the golden wings flapped its wings, before it could fly, it immediately noticed Morbius on Lin Yuan's wrist. When it noticed Morbius, it quickly covered its eyes with its wings. It looked as though it had a lingering fear. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan almost burst out laughing. The golden wing's current appearance was no different from a newly hatched little yellow chick. The two flaps of its wings just now were like a chicken pecking at rice. It was so stupid. Lin Yuan held back his laughter, afraid that he would hurt the golden wing's pride. Lin Yuan, who could sense the golden wing's fear through his spiritual energy, quickly used his other hand to hold the golden wings. He used his fingertips to gently stroke the golden wing's soft young feathers and spoke softly, as though he was coaxing a child. Don't be afraid, golden wings. Morbius will also be your partner in the future. As for the golden wings asking Lin Yuan to help name it, Lin Yuan said that he was the best at naming things. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1248. Lin Yuan said as he recalled the golden wings that covered the sky in the eggshell world. I'll call you Twinkle from now on. In fact, Lin Yuan wanted to call it golden-winged golden shimmering, but it was not convenient to say the word golden, so it was more convenient to say Twinkle. The princess, who was working hard to digest the world crystal in the depths of Lin Yuan's soul, revealed a satisfied expression when she heard the name Lin Yuan had given golden-winged. The princess felt that compared to Shan Shan, her name, Pill, sounded better. God knew how unbalanced the princess had been when he had named the sea burial lotus as Silver Splendor, and the golden lotus brocade as Brocade Say. Fortunately, he was finally back to normal. Under Lin Yuan's continuous caresses, the little gold wing finally dared to close its wings and reveal its eyes. After comforting the little golden wing, Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data. He curiously and expectantly checked the desolate bloodline Fey, Golden Wing's attributes. He didn't know if this little thing's growth required such a huge amount of resources, and whether its skills could match up to the huge amount of resources it consumed. Fey name: Gold Wing Spirit Species, Desolate/Terrapodity Fey Grade, Normal 1/10, Fey Type, Wind Fey Quality, Normal Skills Frowny Face Neck Snapping Hell. When the sharp claws hit the target, it will trigger the neck snapping effect, breaking the target's neck. At the same time, it will grab the target's soul from the neck bone, and absorb the soul into the feather, giving the wind patterns on the feather intelligence. Looking at the golden-winged fey species, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of when he had checked on Zhongzhe's burning sky centipede. Zhongzhe's sky-burning centipede spirit species belonged to the desolate tooth beast family. At that time, it was the first time Lin Yuan had seen a desolate fey. From the looks of it, feys with the desolation bloodline should also belong to the desolation species in true data. In the future, apart from the aura of desolation emitted by the bloodline of desolation feys, Lin Yuan would not be able to use it. It could also use the fey species to determine if it was a fey with the desolate bloodline. According to the Mountain Sea Catalog's introduction, Lin Yuan knew that the Golden Wing was a desolate bloodline fey that relied on its physical body to fight. It could be said that Golden Wing's normal skill, broken neck, was very compatible with Golden Wing's style. The neck snap effect could greatly increase the lethality of the Golden Wing. It could even be said that the Golden Wing had the ability to kill its target in one hit. Absorbing the target's soul into the feather, and giving the wind patterns on the feather sentience made him think of the thousands of tornadoes swirling between the sky-covering Golden Wing's feathers in the golden eggshell. If the wind patterns on every feather of the Golden Wing had intelligence, the tornado produced by the wind patterns was equivalent to an extension of the Golden Wing's body. It could be said that while the normal skill breaking neck and sinking nether took into account the Golden Wing's physical damage, it also strengthened the Golden Wing's elemental damage. After checking the Golden Wing True Data, he brought the Golden Wing True Data to the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Lin Yuan realized that genius was not in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. It should have gone to the Swamp World, to plant the soldier grain radishes through the Klein Hub. At that moment, Chimey wasn't live-streaming. It was in the nest of the phoenix perching Chinese parasol tree, working hard to absorb the energy in the exceptional flame. Upon seeing that Lin Yuan had arrived in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, Chimey immediately flew over while chirping. At that moment, Flash, who was being held in Lin Yuan's hand, suddenly froze. Twinkle stared at Chimey without blinking. It looked like a silly boy who had fallen in love with a beautiful lady at the alley entrance at first sight. When Chimey landed on Lin Yuan's ear and was behaving happily with him, Lin Yuan, who was chatting with Chimey, had already relied on his spiritual energy to keenly discover Flash's state. For a moment, Lin Yuan did not know what to say about Flash's state. As early as when Flash hatched, Lin Yuan had discovered that it was a male bird. This Flash was indeed a fey with the bloodline of desolation. It had just been born, and it already had puppy love. However, under normal circumstances, puppy love often did not have any good results. Lin Yuan had come to the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone this time to pick a batch of spirit rosewood peonies for his master, the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan did not care whether Flash would have a good result from falling in love with Chimey at first sight. Lin Yuan asked Chimey to take care of Flash while he took 3 spirit chi crystals in one go. He then crushed the 3 spirit chi crystals together for the spirit rosewood peonies to absorb. Previously, he had used 1 spirit chi crystal to let 10 spirit rosewood peonies absorb spirit chi. This time, he had crushed 3 spirit chi crystals together, allowing Lin Yuan to harvest 40 spirit rosewood peonies that were full of spirit chi. Of course, such a large output was inseparable from the spirit rosewood peonies that had been absorbing the pure spirit chi in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone during this period. After uprooting these 40 spirit rosewood peonies and putting them into the platinum face storage box, Lin Yuan left the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone in a flash. As soon as he left the breeding room, he found his master, the Moon Empress, and Mystic Moon waiting for him at the entrance. Upon seeing the Moon Empress' concerned eyes, Lin Yuan smiled and said, "Master, the Gold Wing is my fey now." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the smile on the Moon Empress' face deepened. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the smile on the Moon Empress' face deepened. "Little Yuan, do you have a clue about nurturing the Gold Wing's dragon liver and phoenix blood?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan told the Moon Empress his plans in full detail. When the Moon Empress heard Lin Yuan's words, the expression on her face became more and more astonished. After Lin Yuan finished speaking for a long time, the expression on the Moon Empress' face changed from astonishment to pride. From the moment Lin Yuan mentioned his plans for the dragon liver and phoenix blood, Mystic Moon knew that the dragon liver and phoenix blood that the Moon Empress had prepared for Lin Yuan in advance could not be given away. In addition, Lin Yuan's ability to use his connections to deal with things made Mystic Moon immediately understand why Lin Yuan could not get the Moon Empress help. He had developed Sky City so quickly in a short period of time. The Moon Empress pondered for a moment, and put away the diamond face storage box that she had been holding in her hand. Then, she threw a gold face storage box to Lin Yuan and said, "Little Yuan, it's getting late." "Little Yuan, it's already late. Why don't you stay in the Radiant Moon Palace for the night, before returning tomorrow? This gold face storage box has a few bottles of main phoenix species Fey blood and a dragon species Fey's liver that is only one step away from advancing to a main dragon species bloodline. These two things can at least allow the gold wing to reach bronze. Gold, when devouring the phoenix blood and dragon liver, it's best to be accompanied by the absorption of pure spirit chi and wind elemental energy. Little Yuan, I didn't expect your nurturing standards for the gold wing to be so high. I'm looking forward to how strong your gold wing will be when it grows up." Lin Yuan looked at the gold face storage box that the Moon Empress handed over, and decided to return to the breeding room in a while to raise the gold wing's grade. On the day he had met Qin Luan and Qin Yu, he had comprehended a willpower rune made of air currents. This willpower rune was like an indefinite wind, and was very suitable for the gold wing. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1249. If he could raise the Golden Wing's quality to legend, he could immediately evolve it into a fantasy breed. No spirit chi professional in this world would not look forward to their phase becoming fantasy breeds. Lin Yuan was naturally no exception. Furthermore, his Golden Wing was not an ordinary Fey. It was a Fey with the bloodline of desolation. Lin Yuan, who was in a hurry to enter the breeding room to nurture the Golden Wing, took out the platinum Fey storage box that contained 40 nightmare spirit peonies and handed it to the Moon Empress. "Master, apart from that longevity rat, the Feys in this Fey storage box are also for you." Upon seeing the platinum Fey storage box, the Moon Empress reached out to take it. It just so happened that she would ask Lin Yuan if he had any plans to have more pure spirit chi later. The Moon Empress might be willing to let Lin Yuan use precious spiritual ingredients. In a situation where fate could not be changed, the geocentric jade milk was useful to Lin Yuan, so he was even willing to give up the geocentric jade milk that could increase his lifespan by 1 year. However, the Moon Empress was too embarrassed to ask for something from her disciple. The main reason she wanted to ask if Lin Yuan had more pure spirit chi was because Mystic Moon had given a drop of her essence blood to Lin Yuan. Essence blood was the essence of dragon species phase, and losing a drop of essence blood would be a great loss to Mystic Moon. The Moon Empress did not want Mystic Moon's potential to be affected because of this drop of essence blood. On the other hand, Mystic Moon had given Lin Yuan a drop of essence blood, which was equivalent to giving Lin Yuan a huge favor. It was true that Mystic Moon was the Moon Empress Moon Envoy, but the Moon Empress did not treat Mystic Moon as her servant. She had sufficient respect for Mystic Moon. This favor was something the Moon Empress owed Mystic Moon, and she had to return it. She was Lin Yuan's master, so it was reasonable for her to pay more. However, Mystic Moon was not Lin Yuan's master, and Lin Yuan did not know that Mystic Moon had given him the essence blood. Therefore, the Moon Empress wanted to use pure spirit chi, which she did not have, to help Lin Yuan return Mystic Moon's favor. After the Moon Empress checked the platinum face storage box that Lin Yuan handed over, she knew that she did not need Lin Yuan's pure spirit chi anymore. This was because Lin Yuan had prepared pure spirit chi for her, and he had prepared so much. At that moment, the Moon Empress' heart surged with emotions that she hadn't experienced for decades. Ever since the Moon Empress had become a Class 4 creation master, she had been experiencing a state of superiority that others didn't have. When the Moon Empress became a Class 5 creation master, there would be countless people begging the Moon Empress to enhance phase, increase their quality, and heal their damaged roots. Such experiences had caused the Moon Empress to be used to being domineering, and to using her creation master abilities to do things for others. The moment the Moon Empress saw the longevity rat, she knew that it had changed her destiny. She also knew that when Lin Yuan was facing the path of longevity, he had immediately thought of her. He didn't even know that he only had 3 years left to live. According to the Moon Empress understanding, if someone grasped the opportunity to live forever, they would be able to live forever. As long as this person wasn't stupid, he wouldn't hand this opportunity over to someone else. However, Lin Yuan had given the opportunity to live forever to him. As a creation master, he must have seen countless miracles of life metamorphosis in the process of enhancing phase. Therefore, Lin Yuan definitely understood how precious life was. Was Lin Yuan a fool? The answer was definitely no. For Lin Yuan to have such strength at such a young age, he must be smarter than many people. Such a smart person who knew how precious life was willing to give the opportunity to the Moon Empress when facing longevity. Lin Yuan's feelings for her were self-evident. The Moon Empress had never thought of proving anything to Lin Yuan, but the longevity rat could be said to be the best proof that Lin Yuan could give to the Moon Empress. The Moon Empress didn't know how much pure spirit qi Lin Yuan had. However, in just a few days, Lin Yuan had provided her with 40 stalks of spirit qi. It was enough to prove that Lin Yuan had been diligently preparing for her. The pure spirit qi and the longevity rat, and the spirit peony were things that the Moon Empress couldn't obtain with her own ability. Therefore, whether it was the longevity rat or the pure spirit qi and the nightmare spirit peony that he had given the Moon Empress, they could be considered gifts. After receiving so many gifts, the Moon Empress had a feeling that she could rely on someone for the first time. In any case, Lin Yuan's ability as a creation master was already ahead of her. However, the Moon Empress was sure that Lin Yuan wasn't a Class 5 creation master. The Moon Empress couldn't see any Class 5 creation master's unique Dao from Lin Yuan. In other words, Lin Yuan had used some special method to produce pure spirit qi. The Moon Empress was very curious about this, but she didn't have the intention to probe further. Ever since Lin Yuan had become her disciple, the Moon Empress had been teaching him to hide his trump cards. The last time Lin Yuan had given the Moon Empress pure spirit qi, she had thought of a problem. That was, what would happen if others discovered his uniqueness one day? At that time, Yu Ho, who only had 3 years left in her lifespan, could not find an answer. However, the Moon Empress already had the answer in her heart. Now that he had the lifespan rat, he would no longer have to face death because of his lifespan. He could always be Lin Yuan's protective talisman. With this thought, the Moon Empress' obsession to become stronger flourished. The Moon Empress sorted out her thoughts and said to Lin Yuan, "Little Yuan, I plan to enter seclusion until the early stages of the Radiance 100 sequence selection. I'll keep my phone with me when I'm free. If there's anything urgent, you can call me at any time." Upon hearing the Moon Empress' words, Lin Yuan replied with a smile, "I don't think I have anything urgent to disturb Master's seclusion. I'll come back to see Master after you come out." Lin Yuan accompanied the Moon Empress for half an hour before returning to the breeding room. Xianyu, who was standing behind the Moon Empress, spoke softly to her. "Moon Empress, it's all thanks to young Lord this time." Upon hearing that, the Moon Empress' eyes, which had turned cold when Lin Yuan returned to the breeding room, revealed a smile again. But then the Moon Empress glanced at Mystic Moon and said, "That's right. Xianyu, how dare you use something like essence blood so casually?" Mystic Moon had an embarrassed expression as he didn't expect the Moon Empress to settle the score with him after His Young Highness left. Just as Mystic Moon was racking his brains for a reply, the Moon Empress continued, "No matter what, I thank you on behalf of Xiao Yuan." After saying that, the Moon Empress tossed the platinum face storage box to Mystic Moon and said, "You're right. Lin Yuan gave this to me. I will use the pure spirit qi inside to concoct a spirit liquid to help you purify your bloodline." Mystic Moon might be a fae, but he was an out-and-out pinnacle class 4 creation master. He could see the concentration of spirit qi inside the dragon spirit peony. The pure spirit qi inside the dragon spirit peony immediately let Mystic Moon know that his opportunity had arrived. Chapter 1250. At that moment, the Moon Empress stood up and spoke unhurriedly. According to the Totem Moon's investigation, the sandstorms from all directions are rushing toward the Radiance Federation. Black Moon. Once the news of the Azure Federation sending envoys to observe the Radiance 100 sequence selection is out, The Freedom Federation also has the intention of sending envoys out of the Radiance Federation, and has already submitted an application to the Radiance Imperial Court. When Mystic Moon heard the Moon Empress words, his expression immediately turned cold. After pondering for a moment, Mystic Moon asked the Moon Empress, "Moon Empress, now that your 3 years of lifespan has been resolved, what about the Imperial Court?" The Moon Empress looked at her hand for a long time before speaking. "Let's not talk about the Royal Court first. Since the sandstorms from all directions are sweeping across the Radiance, why don't we use the sandstorms from all directions to polish the crown on my head? It's fine if these people came to Wuxia with good intentions. If you have any bad intentions, then don't even think about leaving." When he returned to the breeding room, he hurriedly summoned Chimey and Goldenwing. When Lin Yuan had been drinking tea with the Moon Empress, he had heard Yining complain to him more than once. After Lin Yuan left, Chimey returned to its nest and absorbed the energy transmitted by the phoenix perching Chinese parasol tree. He was working hard to transform into a human form and hold a fan meeting. As for the golden-winged bird, it was like a brat that kept pestering Chimey, wanting to play with it. Chimey wasn't willing to play with Golden-Winged, so Golden-Winged kept causing trouble for it. The golden-winged bird had just hatched from the eggshell, although it had obtained knowledge from its own soul. But he didn't get any enlightenment on how to get along with others. As Goldwing's contractor, Lin Yuan gave Goldwing a good lesson in a very serious manner. Tell Goldenwing how a little man should behave in the world. After being taught a lesson by Lin Yuan, the Goldie immediately ran in front of Chimey in embarrassment and apologized. In Chimey's memory, Lin Yuan had never pulled it into a class seriously. In fact, Lin Yuan rarely spoke to her seriously. Therefore, Chimey had subconsciously used this reason to complain to him, causing him to be angry with Goldenwing. After receiving the golden-winged bird's apology, Chimey also apologized to it. His attitude toward the golden-winged Goldenwing began to become friendly. Of course, this was also thanks to Goldenwing's transformation. After all, it was really difficult for a brat to gain the favor of others. Lin Yuan nodded in satisfaction as he watched Goldenwinged and Chimey getting along. After sending Chimey back to the Spirit Lock spatial zone to continue improving his strength, he took out the dragon liver and phoenix blood, and placed them in front of the Golden Wing. The Golden Wing's eyes lit up when it saw Lin Yuan take out the dragon liver and phoenix blood. "Lin Yuan, can I eat these things? Twinkle loves these things." Lin Yuan placed his hand on Goldenwing's back and said to him, "That's right. Hurry up and eat. These are all prepared for you. After eating these, your strength will increase." While speaking, Lin Yuan tried to inject pure spirit qi into the Goldenwing's body. Soon, Lin Yuan realized that pure spirit qi was injected into the Goldenwing's body, and quickly spread into the air. This meant that Goldenwing's current body did not need to absorb pure spiritual energy. While Lin Yuan was experimenting, the golden-winged bird had already started eating. The golden wing ate the dragon liver and phoenix blood bit by bit. Lin Yuan realized that the pure spirit qi he had injected into the golden wing's body could be absorbed by the golden wing's body as it digested and absorbed the dragon liver and phoenix blood. While the golden wing was eating, Lin Yuan did not forget to take out the wind element heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls. Lin Yuan crushed the elemental pearls into powder and placed them beside the dragon liver and phoenix blood. He let the golden wing decide whether it wanted to eat the powder. As the golden wing ate, Lin Yuan watched as the young feathers on its body hardened bit by bit. In the end, they turned into sharp and tough golden feathers. The golden wing's tender eyes gradually became sharp as its strength increased. As for the golden wing's body size, it was growing rapidly with every passing moment. Lin Yuan deliberately suppressed the golden wing's grade as its great sword. He deliberately waited for the golden wing to reach elite/epic before breaking through to bronze. 3 exclusive skills appeared for Lin Yuan to choose from after the bronze gold wing was promoted to bronze. Dragon Phoenix Frightening Food. During the process of devouring the dragon liver and phoenix blood, it can swallow a large amount of dragon liver and phoenix blood into its body at one time, speeding up the digestion of the dragon liver and phoenix blood. It can also produce an aura that has a powerful deterrent force against dragons and phoenixes, increasing the lethality against dragons and phoenixes. The appearance of this first exclusive skill made Lin Yuan frown slightly. It was not that this first exclusive skill was bad. The first exclusive skill was equivalent to increasing the Golden Wing's evolution speed when the dragon liver and phoenix blood were sufficient. It also increased the Golden Wing's lethality against dragons and phoenixes. If Lin Yuan chose this exclusive skill, he could let the Golden Wing grow in a very short time. Although dragons and phoenixes occupied a large group among the experts' phase, they had limitations. Lin Yuan's creed in enhancing phase had always been to pursue the strongest direction for the phase, and never pursue the speed at which the phase strength increased. It could be said that this exclusive skill was incompatible with Lin Yuan's horoscope. Lin Yuan checked the second exclusive skill. Mountain Sea in the abdomen. Open up a small world in the abdomen. The world in the abdomen can contain inanimate objects, and living objects can only contain dragons and phoenixes. As the grade of the world in the abdomen increases, the area will become larger. When the stamina is exhausted, it can refine the life forms in the world in the abdomen to replenish the consumed energy. Lin Yuan simply did not know how to complain about this second exclusive skill. The second exclusive skill, Mountain Sea in the abdomen, had the same effect as Morbius Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. However, compared to the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, it was at least worlds apart. If Lin Yuan were to define this exclusive skill, it could be roughly defined as a Fey storage box, a dragon and phoenix Fey breeding farm, and an energy storage vault. Lin Yuan had plenty of diamond Fey storage boxes. If he wanted to nurture dragons and phoenixes, wouldn't it be better to find a place to build a breeding base? In Lin Yuan's opinion, the only bright spot of the Mountain Sea in the abdomen was its energy storage. However, there were many ways to recover stamina, and he could rely on external help. He did not necessarily have to occupy an exclusive skill. The two exclusive skills that appeared for the Golden Wing were not in line with Lin Yuan's expectations. Lin Yuan continued to check the third exclusive skill. As a result, a smile immediately appeared on Lin Yuan's face when he saw the third exclusive skill. Unstable temperament. During the process of contact with the Fae, the exclusive skill and passive ability of the Fae can be stored. At that time, the exclusive skill Unstable Temperament will become the replaced exclusive skill and passive ability. The time limit for each replacement is 1 cycle of the Sun and Moon. It could be said that the exclusive skill Unstable Temperament allowed Lin Yuan to see the endless possibilities of the Golden Wing. ABC. Chapter 1251. The exclusive skill, Unstable Temperament, could allow the Gold Wing to constantly change its position to suit Lin Yuan's Fae. At the same time, Lin Yuan no longer had to covet a certain Fae's exclusive skill and passive skill. As a creation master, Lin Yuan had enhanced countless Faes. Naturally, he had seen many excellent exclusive skills and passive skills. Among all the Faes that Lin Yuan had personally enhanced, he still felt that this was the first Fae that he had nurtured for Chu Ci. The Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's exclusive skill and exclusive skill were the best. Lin Yuan coveted the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's elite skill, Sacrifice, and bronze exclusive skill, Annihilation Gaze. However, Lin Yuan coveted the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's elite skill, Sacrifice. As a bloodline of Desolation Fae that relied on its physical ability to attack, the Gold Wing's body would definitely contain a huge amount of vitality after it grew up. It had an extremely strong damage resistance effect. If he could replace the Gold Wing's exclusive skill, Unstable Temperament, with the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's passive skill, Sacrifice, Lin Yuan would be able to increase his defense ability again. He would have an additional powerful life-saving means. Spirit Chi professionals had always had 3 levels of life-saving means. The first level was to resist the damage outside of the body through the method of blocking. Defense-type Spirit Chi professionals' shield abilities were generally this way. Lin Yuan's defense with the Source Sand was also on the first level of defense. Although the first level of defense was the most common means when facing external attacks, it was undoubtedly the lowest among the 3. It was very difficult to completely resist the risk by relying on the first level of defense. When facing some accidents that could not be reacted in time, the first level of defense was often stretched thin. When facing some accidents that could not be reacted in time, The first level of defense was often stretched thin. When facing a sudden attack in the controlled water world dimensional rift, Lin Yuan did not have time to use the source sand to defend. If Lu Jia had not blocked in front of him, Lin Yuan would have been seriously injured. He might even have died. After contracting Princess and Genius and obtaining new abilities, Lin Yuan had obtained the second level of defense. The laws and willpower absorbed by Princess Skirt made Lin Yuan immune to many types of damage. While Genius' spiritual expansion provided him with spiritual protection, it could also reflect the spiritual damage he received back at him. It could increase his own attribute resistance or use Fey abilities to obtain spiritual defense. These two defense methods belong to the second level of defense. The second level of defense could instinctively resist the damage the moment it reached the Spirit Chi professional. Compared to the first layer of defense, the second layer of defense was undoubtedly much more effective. However, the second type of defense often had its limitations and could not be considered a life-saving method in the traditional sense. The Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's elite skill, Sacrifice, was powerful and valuable because it was the third tier of defense. The third level of defense would often provide Spirit Chi professionals with an additional life-saving method. If he let Goldwing's exclusive skill, Unpredictable Temperament, replicate the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's elite ability, he could obtain a third life-saving method. At that time, the Golden Wing would be equivalent to Lin Yuan's Super Meat Shield. Unless the other party had the ability to kill the Golden Wing in one hit, he would not die no matter how strong the attack was. Furthermore, the Jasmine Lily's exclusive skill, Life Imprint, was not to be trifled with. He had not used the Jasmine Lily's exclusive skill, Life Imprint, for a long time. He could sense how much vitality was stored in the vitality imprint on his forehead. When encountering sudden danger, he often did not have the opportunity to open the Life Imprint. With the Golden Wing to share the damage, Lin Yuan would have the opportunity to unlock the Life Imprint. At that time, the massive vitality in the Life Imprint would continuously heal his injuries. At the same time, it would also pour vitality into the injured Golden Wing through the exclusive skill Sacrifice. It could be said that the Golden Wing's exclusive skill, Unpredictable Temperament, formed a three-level closed loop for Lin Yuan's defense system. Lin Yuan did not need to spend any more effort on defense in the future. Now that he had obtained a new life-saving method, Lin Yuan felt much safer. In addition, the exclusive skill, Unpredictable Temperament, could replace the stored passive skill or exclusive skill once every sun and moon rotation. Each sun and moon rotation lasted 24 hours. The 24-hour cooldown period allowed Lin Yuan to modify the Golden Wing at any time. At certain specific times, Lin Yuan could exchange the Unpredictable Temperament's stored Sacrifice. He could allow the Golden Wing to store combat-type skills and exclusive skills. This way, the Golden Wing's combat strength would be significantly enhanced. Of course, the exclusive skill, Unpredictable Temperament, was also particular about the stored passive skills and exclusive skills. It could not store passive skills and exclusive skills at will. For example, Chimy's exclusive skill, Clear Golden Wings, could be replaced at will. However, for the Jasmine Lily's exclusive skill, Life Imprint, Black's exclusive skill, Spirit Chi Imprint, and Genius's exclusive skill, Connected Tail, if the Golden Wing were to be replaced, it would not have the desired effect. The powerful foundation of the Jasmine Lily and Black's exclusive skills was that one could constantly release vitality, while the other could constantly release Spirit Chi. The Golden Wing did not have the ability to release vitality and Spirit Chi. Even if it stored Life Imprint and Spirit Chi Imprint, it could not store vitality and Spirit Chi inside. As for Genius's exclusive skill, Connected Tail, it was based on the premise that Genius had a huge knowledge reserve. Without this powerful knowledge reserve, the Connected Tail's effect would be cut in half. It would only be left with the ability to communicate perfectly. In short, Lin Yuan liked the Golden Wing's exclusive skill, Unpredictable Temperament, which it had obtained after reaching bronze. At the start, when he had enhanced the Golden Wing, Lin Yuan had been standing beside it. Now that the Golden Wing had reached bronze, if he wanted to release pure Spirit Chi into its body, he could only stand on its back. At that moment, The bronze golden wing's wingspan had reached 20 meters, and it had become a true behemoth. From the golden wing, Lin Yuan could no longer see the cuteness it had when it was born. The golden wing's size was beyond Lin Yuan's understanding. He had never seen a bronze life form with such a huge body. Lin Yuan did not dare to imagine how shocking its body length would be as the golden wing's strength increased. In any case, black was definitely not comparable to the golden wing, as the golden wing constantly ate the dragon liver, phoenix blood, and wind-type heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearl powder. After the golden wing reached bronze, its quality had also steadily increased to epic. Lin Yuan immediately ordered to suppress the golden wing's grade increase and let it focus on enhancing its quality. End of this chapter. Chapter 1252. When there was only a small piece of dragon liver and half a bottle of phoenix blood left, the golden wing's quality finally reached legend. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan whispered to the golden wing. Golden wing, Master said that Fays with the Desolation bloodline only start to show their true power when they become fantasy breeds. Every Fae with the Desolation bloodline has the ability to master a certain power, just like the records in the Mountain Sea catalog. Golden wing, let me see how strong you will become after becoming a fantasy breed. After saying that, he summoned the willpower rune he had comprehended, which was composed of the airflow. This formless willpower rune seemed to have been born for the golden wings. Sensing the willpower rune that Lin Yuan had summoned, the golden wing stopped eating. With Lin Yuan's expectations, the golden wing firmly crashed into the willpower rune formed by the wind. After the golden wing crashed into the willpower rune formed by the wind, a gust of wind rose in the breeding room. The golden wing chirped and flapped its wings to fly up. The wind intertwined and clustered around the golden wing. At that moment, the golden wing felt a bit like the golden wing in the eggshell world to Lin Yuan. It seemed to have become the core of the wind at that moment. During the process of becoming a fantasy breed, the gold contained in the golden wing's feathers became denser and denser. The wind runes on the feathers became denser and denser. The brownish gold feathers on the golden wing's neck also suddenly turned golden at that moment. Lin Yuan raised his eyebrows in surprise. The golden wing's golden feathers were already different from the sky-covering golden wing that Lin Yuan had seen in the eggshell. The Mountain Sea catalog had never mentioned that the golden wing's brownish gold feathers would turn pure gold. Could it be because the pure spirit chi strengthened the golden wing's bloodline during the promotion process? While drinking tea just now, the Moon Empress had specially told Lin Yuan about the effect of pure spirit chi on Fays with the Desolation bloodline. Therefore, Lin Yuan increasingly felt that the change in the color of the golden wing's feathers was related to the pure spirit chi. During the process of becoming a fantasy breed, the golden wing's grade did not increase, but its body size increased again. Its original wingspan of 20 meters became 35 meters. Fortunately, his breeding room was big enough. Otherwise, a fantasy breed golden wing would definitely tear down the entire breeding room. Gradually, Lin Yuan realized that while the metallic luster in the golden wing's golden feathers became richer, there was also a bit of a crystalline feeling. The bird's eyes gradually darkened from their original bright gold color to a dark gold color. But in the dark golden eyes of the bird, there was a golden ring that was dozens of times brighter than the original golden color. The dark gold color in the center of the golden ring suddenly began to spin, as if a shocking storm was brewing. As the wind currents around the golden wing dissipated, it officially became a fantasy breed fae. Lin Yuan immediately used Morbius True Data to investigate the golden wing. Fae name: Gold Wing Spirit Species, Desolate/Terrapodity Fae Grade, Bronze 2/10, Fae Type, Wind Fae Quality, Fantasy Eye Skills Frowny Face Neck Snapping Howl. When the sharp claws attack the target, it will trigger the neck snapping effect, breaking the target's neck. At the same time, it will grab the target's soul in the neck bone and absorb the soul into the feather, bestowing the wild wind patterns on the feather with intelligence. Flowing Wind Claw. Scatter the wind elements in the wing's wind patterns into the environment and control the wind in the environment. At the same time, it can use the wind controlled by itself to attack the opponent. The attack damage is equivalent to the damage of the claw. After injuring the target, A large amount of wind elements can be injected into the target's body from the wound in an explosive manner, causing secondary damage to the target. Exclusive skill frowny face unstable temperament. During the process of contact with the Fae, it can store the Fae's exclusive skill and passive ability. At that time, the exclusive skill unstable temperament will become the replaced exclusive skill and passive ability. Each replacement time is limited to one cycle of the sun and moon. Monarch of Wind's descendant. Turn itself into the core of all wind elements, turn itself into the eye of the hurricane, and control the surrounding wind elements. The monarch of wind, all the chaotic winds in the world are its descendants. With one look, Lin Yuan felt as if his eyes were going to fall to the ground. At that moment, Lin Yuan finally understood why the Desolation Bloodline Fae could become the Radiance Federation's representative Fae. The power of the Desolation Bloodline Fae did indeed have the qualifications to protect the Radiance Federation's vast land. The exclusive skill, Monarch of Wind's descendant, obtained after becoming a fantasy breed, had established the Golden Wing's control over the wind elements. As long as the Golden Wing was around, any Fae that relied on the wind elements would be weakened and suppressed. The exclusive skill, Monarch of Wind's descendant, was a passive skill that would obviously become stronger as the Golden Wing's strength increased. Previously, Lin Yuan had always felt that Zhongzai's Burning Sky Centipede had a shocking enhancement ability on fire element phase. Now the Golden Wing's suppression on wind element phase was much stronger than the Burning Sky Centipede's enhancement on fire element phase. Lin Yuan did not have a pure wind element Fae. The only Fae that could match the wind element was the ability that Gray had obtained after absorbing the wind weather. Therefore, the Golden Wing's suppression on Faes that relied on the wind element to fight had almost no effect on Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan felt that after the Golden Wing became a creation breed and condensed a world of wind, it would be enough to call itself the Wind God and be crowned. As for the Golden Wing's elite ability, Flowing Wind Claw, the more Lin Yuan looked at it, the more familiar it felt. After thinking for a long time, Lin Yuan suddenly remembered that Long Tao's Sea King Chalk Mosasaur had an ability called Sea Bite. It controlled the water flow to bite the target, which was very similar to the Golden Wing's ability, Flow of Wind, which controlled the wind elements to attack the target. However, Flow of Wind had an ability that the Sea Bite did not have. It could inject the wind elements into the target's body in an explosive manner from the target's wound. If the Sea Bite's attack was compared to a pistol, then Flow of Wind's attack was equivalent to a shotgun. The true lethality did not lie on the outside but on the inside. Compared to the burning of the fire element and the heavy pressure of the water element, the wind element was famous for cutting. When the wind was forced into the body and exploded, it was equivalent to installing a high-power meat grinder inside the wound. It could cause serious damage to the inside of the wound. At the same time, the high-pressure wind entered the blood vessels and would be pumped into the heart along with the blood. If the attacked Fae's heart function was not strong enough, it was very likely to form a blockage in the heart. It would cause the Fae's blood to be unable to circulate and die. While Lin Yuan was observing the Golden Wing's attributes, he saw it wanting to lean over and rub its neck against him. Lin Yuan hurriedly stopped the Golden Wing. Every feather on the Golden Wing's neck flickered with a sharp cold glint. If the Golden Wing were to rub against him, half of his face would probably be cut off by the Golden Wing's feathers. The Golden Wing was stopped by Lin Yuan and looked at him with some grievance. Lin Yuan, you're so small. When Lin Yuan heard the Golden Wing's words, he could not help but support his forehead with his hand. You're the small one. Your whole family is small. End of this chapter. Chapter 1253. At that point, Lin Yuan was suddenly embarrassed. No, the Golden Wing was his spiritual creature, which was equivalent to his family. For him to have such a thought, did it mean that he wasn't smart enough? Lin Yuan coughed lightly and let the Golden Wing finish eating the remaining dragon liver and phoenix blood. After the Golden Wing finished eating the remaining dragon liver and phoenix blood, he stored it in his spiritual spatial zone. Golden Wing's body was huge, but it did not know how to camouflage. Unless Golden Wing advanced to Myth 2 and transformed into a human, it would not be able to do so. Otherwise, he felt that he would not have a chance to summon the golden wings in a non-combat state. After leaving the breeding room, Lin Yuan returned to his pavilion and soaked in the hot spring to relieve his fatigue before having a good night's sleep. However, under the silent night sky, the old residence of the Blissful Sea clan was in a complete mess. At this time, every core member of the Sea of Bliss clan in the old mansion was sitting in the meeting room, trembling. Just then, news came from the spirit guards that the Miao family's beast creation garden had applied for the Blood Oath Extreme Battle against the Blissful Sea clan for the third time. According to the rules of the Extreme Battle Arena, after a faction made 3 requests, even if the other party did not agree, the Blood Oath Extreme Battle would still proceed as planned. Ever since Qi Haitao and Qi Wangyang had annoyed Lin Yuan in Sky City's private faction territory, they had been ignored by him. His heart turned cold. At the same time, he blamed himself for being too greedy and not giving away all the resources of the Blissful Ocean tribe in exchange for a chance to survive. In fact, Qi Haitao and Qi Wangyang had been hoping for something. Rumor had it that ever since the Great Night Assembly, the young palatial lord of Yeyang Palace had never liked the Miao family's beast creation garden. There were a few times when the Miao family took the initiative to express goodwill to the beast creation garden, but they didn't even get to see the young palace lord of the Yeyang Palace. He was chased out of the spirit guards with his tail between his legs. The Blood Oath Extreme Battle had to be jointly certified by the Extreme Arena and the spirit guards before it could be carried out. Qi Wangyang felt that based on young Palace Lord Yeyang's attitude towards the Miao family's beast creation garden, the spirit guards should not have allowed the Zheng family to apply for the Blood Oath duel. However, the news from the spirit guards had arrived. This meant that the other hope in his heart other than the Sky Castle was completely gone. This was the first time Qi Wangyang felt that death was so close to him. Looking at the core members of the Blissful Sea tribe under him, none of them could come up with an idea. They all looked at him with their necks shrunk. Qi Wangyang was filled with anger and fear at the same time. Fear ignited Qi Wangyang's temper. He slammed his palm on the table and said, "All of you are spending the money of your forces. One of you is worth 2. Every time I make a little achievement, I can't wait to ask for resource rewards 5 times a day. Now that it's a matter of life and death, why aren't any of you letting out a fart? What happened to your regulations for resources?" Ha! Before Qi Wangyang could vent his anger, he heard an old man sitting down say, "I have been working for the Blissful Sea race for 4 to 5 years, but I am just a pinnacle class 3 creation master that was hired by the Blissful Sea race. I'm going to cancel my employment with the Blissful Sea tribe from now on." The old man's words caused the words that Qi Wangyang was about to say to be stuck in his throat. This caused Qi Wangyang to cough violently. Qi Wangyang coughed as he glared at the old man. If his gaze had any power, the old man would have been a dead man by now. Qi Wangyang cursed in his heart. Fuck. How can you be so shameless? Didn't this old thing keep expressing his loyalty to him when he was developing the islands? He said that he was willing to serve the Blissful Sea tribe for the rest of his life. He wanted to use this to exchange for 3% of the island's development shares? Back then, I had given the shares to this old man. This old man had spent a lot of resources on the Blissful Sea tribe over the past few years. Even the resources for Phase to evolve into myth breeds were provided by the Blissful Sea tribe. How could this old man have the cheek to say that I am just an external creation master of the Blissful Sea tribe? Apart from the fact that your surname isn't Zheng, the creation master resources you use are probably even more than the Zheng family's creation masters. After coughing, Qi Wangyang was about to scold the old man, but the old man spoke first. "Family head, don't blame me. Family head, please don't blame me. Humans will live if they move, but trees will die if they move. You didn't ask for Sky City's help, and the Blood Oath Extreme Duel can't defeat the Miao family's beast creation garden. Back then, I didn't support you to cause trouble for the Miao family's beast creation garden. It was your decision to destroy the family's future." As soon as the old man finished speaking, many of the Class 1, 2, and 3 creation masters from the Blissful Sea tribe responded. Even if it was a Class 1 creation master, as long as they could survive, they would be respected wherever they went. Therefore, without any emotional ties, no creation master would be willing to live and die with a faction. Before this meeting, many of the external creation masters had the intention to leave the blissful sea tribe. However, the low-class creation masters who didn't have powerful strength were afraid that the blissful sea tribe would act in desperation. The pinnacle class 3 creation master who spoke was an emperor class expert who had a newly evolved myth breed fae. If they stood behind the old man, it was undoubtedly a good opportunity to leave the blissful sea tribe. Otherwise, if they were really stuck in the blissful sea tribe by Qi Wangyang, they could only wait for death. When the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden defeated the Blissful Sea Tribe during the Blood Oath Extreme Duel, the Blissful Sea Tribe's resources would be distributed. If the Class 4 Creation Masters from the Blissful Sea Tribe were willing to submit to the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, the Miao family would definitely be willing to accept them. This was also an unspoken rule of the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. During the Blood Oath Extreme Duel, apart from the other faction's high-class creation masters, the external high-class creation masters would normally be able to survive. However, it wasn't the same for Class 1 and 2 creation masters. If the Blissful Sea Tribe's Blood Oath Extreme Duel was a veteran faction, the veteran faction might fight for the Class 1 and 2 creation masters' resources. However, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was a top-notch faction that relied on creation masters. They had nurtured countless low-class creation masters. Therefore, the Class 1 and 2 creation masters hired by the Blissful Sea Tribe might be treated as potential troubles and burdens, and get rid of by the Beast Creation Garden. Seeing so many Class 1 and 3 creation masters responding to the old man, Qi Wangyang was so angry that his body was trembling. When the tree fell, the monkeys would scatter. Right now, the Blissful Sea Tribe's tree had yet to fall, but the creation masters on the tree wanted to let go of the tree and escape. How could there be such a good thing in the world? The rage allowed Qi Wangyang to suppress the fear in his heart, and his eyes turned sinister. Seeing that Qi Haitao was about to stand up and speak, Qi Wangyang's sinister eyes looked at Qi Haitao. He stopped Qi Haitao. Qi Wangyang allowed the old man to lead the Class 1 and 2 creation masters to cause a ruckus. Chapter 1254. Qi Wangyang stood up and said in a cold voice when no one else joined the old man's group, and was about to leave the Blissful Sea Tribe. You guys have mastered the ability to push a man who is down. But don't forget, the collapse of a high wall can crush the person who pushed it to death. Just as Qi Wangyang finished his statement, the elder and the other creation masters who were waiting to leave the Blissful Sea Tribe had a dark expression. As a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, the elder actually didn't need to make a fuss. Even if the Blissful Ocean Clan fell, and the Miao family took over the Blissful Ocean Clan's resources in the Beast Creation Garden, under normal circumstances, he should be able to be put in an important position. However, in order to express his loyalty to Qi Wangyang and gain his favor, he had to give in to Qi Wangyang. When Qi Wangyang was targeting the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, he had said something bad about the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. The old man was afraid that the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden would come after him. That was why he chose to take the lead in stirring up the emotions of the Elysian Sea Tribe at the beginning of this meeting that concerned the survival of the Elysian Sea Tribe. Those Class 1 and Class 2 creation masters that didn't share the same surname wanted to cling on to the Elder and leave the Paradise Sea race. The Elder also needed these Class 1 and Class 1 creation masters to rise up. In order to curry favor with Qi Wangyang, the old man had spent most of his time by Qi Wangyang's side. He knew Qi Wangyang's character very well. Qi Wangyang was a person who cared about appearances. If it wasn't the last resort, Qi Wangyang would never fall out with the inner circle. This was also the reason why many Class 1 and Class 2 creation masters dared to have thoughts of leaving the Sea of Bliss during the critical moment. Now that Qi Wangyang had openly fallen out with him, the old man felt a strong sense of danger. After Qi Wangyang threatened him, the old man turned to look at an old man who couldn't even straighten his back. The old man looked sickly, sitting at the table with his back almost at a right angle. It was as if he would die if he couldn't catch his breath. However, everyone present knew that this old man was not as weak as he looked. This man was the younger brother of the Blissful Sea Clan's previous clan leader, and Qi Wangyang's great-uncle, Qi Heng. As an advanced Class 4 creation master, Qi Hung was the strongest creation master in the veteran faction, the Sea of Bliss. He was also the owner of the most powerful force in the Blissful Sea clan. Uncle, I'll have to trouble you to clean up the traitorous vermin in our Sea of Bliss. The elder stood up shakily and sighed as he asked Qi Wangyang. Wangyang, tell me, how do you plan to deal with these people? If you weren't the family head, these people would have died under my frost-thorn twin carps. At this point, a dense killing intent spread out from the old man's body. This caused the hearts of everyone present to tremble. Qi Wangyang said coldly, I have the same opinion as Uncle. Normally, if the Blissful Sea Tribe's real external members leave, then so be it. Those external creation masters that left the Sea of Paradise, which one of them didn't I, Qi Wangyang, give them a sum of resources before leaving? Right now, the Blissful Sea Tribe is in a critical moment of life and death. If we leave now, we'll be stirring up trouble and disturbing their morale. Look at these people who stir up trouble and disturb the hearts of the people. All they do is show their loyalty. What they hate the most is that their surname isn't Qi. The people who grew up eating the resources of the Blissful Sea Tribe are all trying to distance themselves from the Blissful Sea Tribe. I don't know if the Blissful Sea Tribe can survive this crisis, but even if the Blissful Sea Tribe can't survive this crisis, you treacherous traitors will also die before me. As soon as Qi Haitao finished speaking, a blue-haired Lolita with two shoulders immediately appeared beside the elder. Once the blue-haired Lolita appeared, the conference room was immediately filled with a bone-chilling cold air. Immediately after, every member that said they were leaving the Blissful Sea Tribe had their throats pierced by an icicle that froze their entire bodies. The Blissful Sea Tribe's conference room had been wiped out by 1/5. The creation masters that weren't attacked looked at the dead Pinnacle Class 3 creation masters and the frozen statues of the Class 1 and Class 2 creation masters. Their eyes gradually turned complicated. The hunchback Qi Hung saw all of these people's eyes. Qi Wangyang might have tried his best to say some nice words to show that he wasn't mean to the Blissful Sea Tribe's members. But these nice words couldn't conceal the essence of massacre. The hearts of the Blissful Sea Tribe's members were scattered like a pile of sand. If it wasn't for the deterrence of the cold thorn twin carps, Qi Wangyang might have really let these creation masters go. The remaining Class 3 and Class 4 creation masters would also look for Qi Wangyang after the conference ended. After all, a high-class creation master's status that was taken over by the Blood Oath Extreme Duel was far inferior to a free high-class creation master joining a faction. Qi Hung sighed silently. If the hearts of the people are scattered, so be it. The hearts of the people can scatter, but the people must not scatter. According to the information that Qi Haitao had provided before the conference, Sky City's city lord had only left Qi Wangyang and Qi Haitao in the cold. However, he didn't take the initiative to express that he wasn't going to help the Blissful Sea Tribe. It was a fact that Sky City and the Miao family's beast creation garden had a grudge. The reason why Qi Haitao and Qi Wangyang had been left in the cold was because they hadn't expressed enough sincerity. If the people were to scatter now, the news would spread. In the eyes of outsiders, the Blissful Sea Tribe's overall value would be greatly discounted. This would undoubtedly cause Sky City to look down on the Blissful Sea Tribe's value. It was the same as reducing the Blissful Sea Tribe's chips to seek help from Sky City. Therefore, Qi Hung would not tolerate this. Qi Hung looked at the scattered hearts in the room and Qi Wangyang, who had nowhere to vent his anger. Qi Hung tapped the ground with his walking stick and said, "Family head, I will take the initiative to communicate with Sky City. Family head, I will take the initiative to communicate with Sky City." I wonder what the family head's bottom line is. Qi Wangyang's face was filled with joy. If his uncle, Qi Hung, could take over this burden, it would be much easier for him. Uncle, my bottom line is to give 80% of Sky City's shares at most. By then, the Blissful Sea Tribe will be a faction under Sky City. I hope that during the negotiations, I can give 80% of the shares and get Sky City's promise to invest in the Blissful Sea Tribe. When the elder heard Qi Wangyang's words, he couldn't help but think of his brother's evaluation of his nephew. Wangyang can ensure the Blissful Sea Tribe's development, but he can't make up for the Blissful Sea Tribe's crisis. It seemed that his brother really understood his son to the bone. That was why he gave such an evaluation. Now that it was a matter of life and death, his bones were buried up to his neck. He couldn't let Qi Wangyang do whatever he wanted anymore. Even if Qi Wangyang was the nominal family head of the Blissful Sea tribe, Qi Heng didn't respond to Qi Wangyang's words. Instead, he turned around and asked Qi Haitao, "Haitao, what do you think?" Chapter 1255. Qi Haitao did not expect that he would be called out by Qi Heng on such an occasion. Qi Haitao glanced at his father, hesitated for a moment, and finally said his bottom line. "If Sky City can promise to guarantee our safety, we can let the Lord of Sky City ask for whatever he wants. This will show the sincerity of our Sea of Bliss to the greatest extent. If we make a promise ourselves, we won't be able to completely satisfy Sky City. It's impossible for Sky City to help us, the Blissful Sea tribe. After all, we don't have any friendly relations with Sky City. On the contrary, we used some tricks against Sky City during our previous cooperation. Also, when we talk, we shouldn't focus on Sky City's hatred towards the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. Sky City's hatred towards the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden has nothing to do with the Blissful Ocean tribe. Sky City doesn't need to make use of the Blood Oath War between the Blissful Ocean tribe and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden to attack the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. If Sky City really wants to do something to the Beast Creation Garden, they can apply for a blood oath in their own name," Yi Zichen said. After Qi Haitao finished speaking, he bowed to Qi Heng. He did not dare to look at Qi Wangyang's eyes. Qi Wangyang's face turned green when he heard Qi Haitao's words. It could be said that Qi Haitao's words were equivalent to a complete denial of his previous actions. He did not show any mercy at all. Previously, he had been obsessed with Sky City's hatred towards the Beast Creation Garden. In the process of negotiation, they were not willing to give up the resources that the Sea of Bliss had. In Qi Wangyang's heart, Qi Haitao's words were no different from a thief. If the Sky City made a request, the Sky City wouldn't even leave a fart for the Blissful Sea tribe. However, unlike Qi Wangyang's ashen expression, Qi Heng's face revealed a look of admiration and gratification when he heard Qi Haitao's words. "Haitao will handle this matter with me. Patriarch, the waves are getting bigger. If the Blissful Sea tribe can overcome this crisis, you'd better discuss things with Haitao in the future. Haitao's mind is clear. If you had discussed with him, the Blissful Sea tribe wouldn't have ended up like this." Following Qi Heng's words, no one else spoke up. The breeding room of the Blissful Sea tribe was eerily quiet. Unlike the quietness of the scene, the hearts of the people in the conference room were already boiling. Each of them had some thoughts that they could not reveal. The next morning, Lin Yuan woke up from his deep sleep. After waking up, Lin Yuan suddenly realized that the feeling of waking up today was very different from before. When people wake up, their bodily functions have just begun to recover, and they tend to be relatively lazy. But now that he had woken up, his body's functions had immediately reached their peak. Presumably, it had something to do with him using the geocentric jade milk to undergo a complete transformation. After waking up, Lin Yuan took a bath in the hot spring and changed into a set of spirit chi clothes. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he couldn't shift his gaze away for a moment. Lin Yuan wasn't a narcissistic person and wasn't interested in men. However, the appearance of the person in the mirror was simply too outstanding. All of a sudden, the words cool flashed in Lin Yuan's mind. Immediately after, he shook his head and tossed the strange thought out of his head. At that moment, one of the 40 attendants, Kai Cha, carried a tray to Lin Yuan's pavilion. Kai Cha, who had just entered the pavilion, saw Lin Yuan shaking his head and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. "My young lord is so outstanding. I really don't know what kind of woman will be worthy of him in the future." In the entire Radiance Society, with His Highness' talent and identity, it was truly difficult to find a good match. Among the people that Kai Cha knew, His Holiness's granddaughter was sufficient. However, her talent and strength were much worse than Lin Yuan's. His Holiness Tianfeng's younger sister was currently the second Radiance Envoy, and her talent and strength were sufficient. However, she was much older than His Highness. In this case, only the granddaughter of His Holiness in the Imperial Court could match His Highness' talent and identity. Lin Yuan had already seen Kai Cha and hurriedly greeted her. Lin Yuan didn't know what Kai Chao was thinking. If Lin Yuan knew what Kai Chao was thinking, he would definitely be speechless. As someone who had transmigrated from another world, Lin Yuan didn't value things like status and talent. When he saw the breakfast that Kai Chao brought for him, Lin Yuan was rather curious. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't I be eating with my master in the inner palace? Lin Yuan found out from Kai Chao that the Moon Empress and Mystic Moon had been in seclusion since last night. After breakfast, Lin Yuan wasn't in a hurry to return to the mansion. Instead, he walked down the Leaning Moon Mountain along with the early spring dew, and went all the way to the royal capital's downtown area. Lin Yuan revealed a smile as he looked at the vast mountains and rivers, as well as the fireworks of the mortal world. This kind of radiant scene under the first rays of the morning sun was truly worth protecting. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw a hawker selling cornbread not far away. Lin Yuan immediately recalled how Chu Xi would clamor for cornbread every time she went out on the streets when she was young. Lin Yuan quickly walked over and was prepared to buy one from the hawker to savor the taste of the past. Lin Yuan, who was in a hurry to buy cornbread, didn't know that a group of people had gathered behind him and were secretly watching him. After buying the cornbread, Lin Yuan placed it in his mouth and chewed it. He realized that the taste of the cornbread was hard to swallow. However, Lin Yuan still ate it mouthful by mouthful. In Lin Yuan's heart, the memory of the cornbread was definitely more important than the taste and texture. Just as Lin Yuan was about to walk back to the mansion, his cell phone rang. He picked up the phone and saw that it was from Zhongzhe. Thus, Lin Yuan quickly picked up the phone. Lin Yuan had previously asked Zhongzhe to help see if he could obtain the sacred source life form, the Wind Crystal Treasure Bottle, from the Whale Ocean Trading Company's Myriad Origin Hall. Zhongzhe had readily agreed at that time, but Zhongzhe hadn't contacted Lin Yuan during this period. Presumably, this contact should be related to the source-type life form, the Wind Crystal Treasure Bottle. When Lin Yuan picked up the call, he heard Zhongzhe ask with some embarrassment on the other end of the line. Lin Yuan picked up the phone and heard Zhongzhe ask with some embarrassment, "Lin Yuan, do you still have the fire-type Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearl that you gave me previously?" Upon hearing Zhongzhe's words, Lin Yuan was slightly startled. Lin Yuan did have a fire-type Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearl that contained the Wind Crystal Treasure Bottle. However, that Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearl had been woven into a bead string by Hu Quan. During the process of weaving the bead string, Hu Quan had had an epiphany as a spirit craftsman. As a result, the bead string that was woven from the Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearl had become a work of art. However, since Zhongzhe had mentioned it and sounded a little anxious, Lin Yuan decided to be honest. Lin Yuan immediately answered honestly. End of this chapter. Chapter 1256. Big Brother Zong, I still have a fire elemental Heavenly Maiden Grade Pearl that contains the Divine Lady Xian. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhongzhe was overjoyed. Zhongzhe didn't hide the fact that he needed the Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearls for the Divine Maiden Xian fire attribute. Lin Yuan, you still have a fire element Heavenly Maiden Grade Elemental Pearl with the Goddess Gerbils. That's great. If I want to purify my heaven-burning Ho's bloodline, I need high-purity fire elemental energy and pure spirit energy. As a matter of fact, the pure fire elemental energy in the elemental pearl you gave me last time triggered the bloodline of the heaven-burning Ho. The Burning Sky Centipede has been using the pure fire elemental energy in the elemental pearls to temper its bloodline. Although I don't need to consume the Heavenly Maiden Grade fire elemental pearls in the process of tempering my bloodline, I still need to feel the pure fire elemental energy and assimilate my own fire elemental energy. The fire elemental energy in a Heavenly Maiden level elemental pearl is pure enough, but it's too weak. It's going to be difficult for the heaven-burning centipede to assimilate its own fire element. If you still have one, I hope you can lend me that Heavenly Maiden Grade fire elemental pearl that contains the Goddess Germinal Pearl for a while. Lin Yuan replied without the slightest hesitation. No problem. Big Brother Zong, are you in the capital right now? I just happen to have time now. Why don't I send it to you directly? When Zhongzhe, who was on the other end of the line, heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart burned. Zhongzhe knew very well how precious the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearl was. Even his master, Chef Supreme, could not get a heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearl that contained the goddess Graupel. His creation master standard must have improved a lot over the past few years, and had already surpassed his master. Lin Yuan's 2 fire elemental heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls should have been obtained from the Moon Empress. Just the fact that Lin Yuan had brought a fire elemental heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearl with the heavenly maiden Xian pearl when he had been a guest at his place had already shocked Zhongzhe. Zhongzhe didn't expect Lin Yuan to give him such a big gift. Zhongzhe had called Lin Yuan because he was unwilling to accept the fact that the heaven-burning centipede was only a step away from purifying its bloodline. Under normal circumstances, even if they were good friends, it would be considered rude to involve such a level of resources. This was because no one would be willing to take it out if they did not have a close relationship. Even if there really was, he could still just reply with no to get over it. However, the moment Lin Yuan finished speaking, he immediately told her frankly that he did not have it. He knew that he needed it, yet he was willing to take the initiative to deliver such precious resources. Would-be said Zhe Zongyuan would be. Zhe would be. Moreover, Zhongzhe himself hoped to be able to become good friends with Lin Yuan and treat each other with sincerity. Kingad, and Skad, and Zong, Qi, and Ziti, and Zong. In the past few days, Zhongzhe's fighting spirit had been ignited due to the curse, and he was getting more and more restless. And Lin Master King Zhe had. Originally, when Zhongzhe thought of Lin Yuan, he thought of that strange fragrance. However, after this incident, Zhongzhe, who could feel Lin Yuan's affection for him, thought of Lin Yuan again. She subconsciously thought of Lin Yuan's aroma, which could soothe the restless soul. But Lin Yuan himself. It seemed that other than Gulang, he had made another true friend. Lin Yuan noticed that Zhongzhe did not respond after he said that he was going to help deliver the elemental pearls. He subconsciously thought that it might not be convenient for Zhongzhe right now. Therefore Lin Yuan hurriedly said, "That's right. Big brother Zhong, if it's inconvenient for you, why don't I just ask Ostrich Logistics to send it over? Don't forget to sign for it in person. This is my last fire elemental pearl. It's the last fire elemental pearl I have." Lin Yuan's words brought Zhongzhe back to his senses, and his brows relaxed as he chuckled. "Lin Yuan, I have never been to your place before. I'll go to your place to get the elemental pearls in a while. I'll send you the source type item, the wind crystal treasure bottle." Upon hearing Zhongzhe's words, Lin Yuan replied, "Big brother Zhong, I'll text you the address now. It just so happens that I've just returned from Master's place, and am preparing to return to the manor." After speaking, Lin Yuan hung up the phone. After sending the text message to Zhongzhe, Lin Yuan no longer had the intention to continue strolling around. He sent his address to Zhongzhe, and Zhongzhe should be able to reach his manor very soon. As the owner of the manor, he should be receiving Zhongzhe in the manor instead of letting Zhongzhe wait for him in the manor. Thus, he used the ethereal jellyfish's node teleportation ability, and returned to the main mansion's entrance in a few flashes. As soon as he returned to the mansion, he saw Wen Yu looking at the information in her hands with a playful expression. Lin Yuan asked with a smile, "Did someone from the Sea of Bliss clan ambush you on Star Web early in the morning?" Upon hearing that, Wen Yu hurriedly stood up and handed the information in her hand to Lin Yuan. "Young master, Brother Lu has notified the spirit guards. The spirit guards have already given the Blissful Ocean tribe their final warning, confirming the blood oath between the Blissful Ocean tribe and the Beast Creation Garden. I wonder what young master plans to do next." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan did not directly say his plan. Instead, he asked Wen Yu, "This morning, the people of the Sea of Bliss found you. What was their condition?" Wen Yu pointed at the information and said, "Young master, the leader of the Blissful Sea clan is Qi Wangyang. However, there is one person in the Blissful Sea tribe who has a higher status than Qi Wangyang, and that is Qi Wangyang's great uncle, Qi Heng. This time, it was Qi Heng who brought Qi Wangyang's son, Qi Haitao, to find me. The two of them did not state any conditions after seeing me. Just say that if Sky City has any needs, The blissful sea tribe will do their best to fulfill them. Upon hearing her words, Lin Yuan nodded inwardly. It seemed like the people of the blissful sea tribe had already seen through the situation and learned to be obedient. However, since Sky City had taken the initiative to help the blissful sea clan fight against the Miao family's beast creation garden, destroying the entire Miao family's beast creation garden would not benefit him. Instead, it would affect Lin Yuan's plan to use the Miao family's beast creation garden to explore the Whale Ocean's trade with the Myriad Flag's lineage. Lin Yuan had a more important purpose for this operation, and that was to harvest faith. It was to strengthen the power of faith in his shrine. Therefore, he had to think about how to maximize the harvest of the power of faith. End of this chapter. Chapter 1257. After some consideration, he could not come up with the best solution, so he decided to tell Wenyu about it. He wanted to see if Wenyu could give him some constructive suggestions. Before he spoke, he first had to tell her his purpose. Otherwise, if Wenyu's suggestion didn't suit his purpose, he would definitely be disappointed. In that case, Wenyu's suggestion would be in vain. Therefore, Lin Yuan asked Wenyu, "Wenyu, have you heard of the power of faith?" Hearing this, Wenyu pondered carefully. After pondering for a moment, Wenyu shook her head after confirming that she had never heard of the power of faith. Wenyu was a little puzzled by Lin Yuan's sudden question. However, since he had mentioned the power of faith, there was a reason for it. Upon seeing Wenyu shake her head, Lin Yuan explained softly. The power of faith refers to when a life form develops positive emotions such as worship and respect towards another life form. These positive emotions can be converted into the power of faith. I have a fae whose strength is closely related to the intensity of the power of faith I absorb. Lin Yuan paused for a moment before continuing. If we help the blissful ocean tribe win the Blood Oath Extreme Battle, we will definitely have to deal with the Miao family's beast creation garden. Previously, I asked you to investigate the information on the Whale Ocean Trade Branch. You also discovered that there is a huge problem with the Whale Ocean Trade Branch. Recently, Whale Ocean Trade Thousand Flags has been discussing a collaboration with the Beast Creation Garden. My identity as the City Lord of Sky City has a feud with the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. However, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden is very fond of my original identity. I have something that I want to borrow the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden to see if I can get it from Whale Ocean Trading. If I get rid of the Miao family now, it will affect my plan. Also, I don't think this is the best way to harvest the power of faith. Many people on StarWeb are guessing that Sky City might launch a Blood Oath Extreme Battle to take revenge on the Beast Creation Garden. In addition, Sky City displayed extraordinary strength in the Blood Oath battle against the Zheng family, instantly killing 2 veteran Emperor-level experts, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan. Hence, even if the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden is destroyed by Sky City, it won't cause too much of a stir. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's explanation, Wenyu immediately understood what the power of faith was. At the same time, she knew Lin Yuan's 2 purposes. Soon, Wenyu had an idea. However, before she said this, she still had to confirm one thing with Lin Yuan. Young master, you said that the power of faith is formed from emotions like respect, worship, and admiration. Then, as long as more people pay attention to this storm, and because of this storm, they will understand your strength. You don't have to stick to a specific identity, right? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan raised his brows. Why does it sound like I'm a celebrity in my previous life? However, his words were crude, but the logic was not crude. It was indeed logical. My current identity is Sky City City Lord, the combat class Spirit Chi Professional Black, and my current identity. The disturbance caused by Chimey previously allowed me to gain a lot of faith power as Black. Wenyu's eyes lit up when she heard this, and she confirmed the feasibility of the idea she had just come up with. Wenyu didn't directly tell him the solution. Instead, she guided Lin Yuan and let him understand the reason she could come up with this idea. Young master, when Pinru and I were creating the Pinru's Wardrobe brand, we thought of immediately using money to spend on some famous StarWeb celebrities to promote the clothing. During this process, Pinru and I learned about some extremely popular internet celebrities on StarWeb. There is such a group among the extremely popular star web celebrities. They are obviously not strong, but they have an odd number of fans. Furthermore, when they encounter a storm, their fans will try their best to protect them. They are very sticky. After saying that, Wen Yu changed the topic and asked, "Young master, have you heard of the term fan abuse?" Young master, have you heard of the term fan abuse? If the worship, admiration, respect, and other emotions produced because of a certain incident or storm are only temporary, it will slowly dilute with the passage of time and other storms. Then, fan abuse can deepen the worship, admiration, respect, and other emotions, making these emotions more profound. During the observation process, I found that those star web celebrities who are not top-notch and have an odd number of fans like to get involved in some matters that have nothing to do with them. They constantly rely on hot events to increase their exposure, and occasionally put themselves in a weak position, causing their fans to feel sorry for them. They carry out all kinds of spiritual pulling on their fans. I think this is similar to Young Master's goal of absorbing the power of faith. If you want to collect the maximum amount of the power of faith, we can absorb some essence from it. First of all, Young Master, I think you should first set up an enemy that is so strong that outsiders can't resist for your Sky City's City Lord identity. With this enemy around and this enemy standing up to protect the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden, then we don't have to care about the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden anymore. According to what you just said, each of your identities can absorb the power of faith for you. In my opinion, you should increase the exposure of each of your identities. If Lin Yuan still did not understand, he would really be a fool. If Lin Yuan still did not understand, he would really be a fool. Ever since he had used the law crystals to create 7 Emperor-class experts for the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden, they had been very close to him. Miao Zhua and Miao He, the 2 younger generation competitors of the Beast Creation Garden, had been competing to greet him every day. They did not miss a single moment of time. It was just like how the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden wanted to rely on him. If Sky City helped the Blissful Sea clan win the Blood Oath Extreme Duel at the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden, the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden would definitely beg him when they were at their wits' end. If he helped the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden and saved the lives of the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden from Sky City, he would be the savior of the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden. By then, everyone in the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden would probably be deeply grateful to him. It would undoubtedly be easier for him to use the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden to do things. Moreover, he would use his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to protect the Meow family's Beast Creation Garden from Sky City. In the minds of the other factions and onlookers, they would subconsciously think that the Moon Empress disciple was opposing Sky City. This should be the reason why when you mentioned to him about torturing his fans. After thinking about it, Lin Yuan felt that Wen Yu's suggestion was very feasible. End of this chapter. Chapter 1258. Moreover, there were 2 benefits to this storm caused by his 2 identities. First, the storm was absolutely controllable. Secondly, it was enough to push his 2 identities to the forefront and gain a lot of exposure. At that time, as long as the storm did not dissipate, his 2 identities would continue to obtain a large amount of faith power. Wen Yu was indeed a top internal affairs talent. With just a few simple words, she had solved the problem that Lin Yuan had been clueless about. After chatting with Wen Yu for a while, he picked up the teapot on the table. He went to brew a pot of 3 treasures tea with cinnabar sweet osmanthus stamens, and lit up the completely jade-textured agarwood. Then he said to Wen Yu, "That's right. Wen Yu, Zhongzhe will come to visit the manor in a while. Looking at the time, he should be arriving soon. Why don't you come with me to the entrance to welcome Zhongzhe?" Upon hearing this, Wen Yu agreed softly. She then walked toward the mansion's entrance with Lin Yuan. Back when Wen Yu was still a spirit attendant, when she found out that she was going to meet a big shot like Zhongzhe, the disciple of Chef Supreme, she would have been shocked. He would definitely be extremely nervous. However, now that she had been with Lin Yuan for a long time, her vision and experience had improved. Compared to a year ago, when he was still a spirit attendant, his strength had increased 10-fold, or even 100-fold. He looked at the outstanding youths like Lin Yuan and Lu Jie all day long. Even though she knew she was going to meet Chef Supreme's disciple, she could still remain calm. When Yu, who had arrived at the mansion's entrance, recalled Lu Jie's call in the morning, and said to Lin Yuan, "Young master, Brother Lu said that he will come back from the land of soul suppression to cook lunch. Why don't I call Brother Lu now and ask him to buy more ingredients?" Just as she finished speaking, a magnetic chuckle echoed beside him. "Master, the dragon developing pond has just been opened not long ago. The crabs in the dragon developing pond are at their fattest. My diamond face storage box happens to have a lot of new crabs from the evolving dragon pond. Let me cook lunch." Lin Yuan thought to himself when he saw Zhongzhe suddenly appear beside him. Zhongzhe should be like him, and also have a spatial fae that could teleport. Just as Lin Yuan turned around and was about to greet Zhongzhe, he keenly noticed that something was wrong with Zhongzhe. Lin Yuan saw that Zhongzhe's pupils were faintly blood red, and his body was emitting a suppressed battle intent. In that regard, Lin Yuan immediately thought of Zhongzhe's misfortune. Astrologer Ji Tan's production speed in the Spirit Lock spatial zone wasn't slow, and he could produce a box in half a month. Wang Fuxiang would need 25 to 26 days to finish a box of Astrologer Ji Tan's pollen. Therefore, even if he had to take care of Wang Fuxiang, he could still allocate enough Astrology Ji Tan pollen for Zhongzhe to use. However, it was clearly not a good time to give Astrologer Ji Tan's pollen to Zhongzhe. Zhongzhe just said that he would take the initiative to make lunch, which meant that Zhongzhe did not treat him as an outsider. Lin Yuan didn't stand on ceremony and replied with a smile. "Last time I ate at Big Brother Zong's place, I've been thinking about Big Brother Zong's cooking. Come, let's go inside first. We'll talk inside." Zhongzhe saw the nearly completed hidden dragon lake in the distance as he walked from the gate to the main residence. Zhongzhe couldn't help but admire the beautiful scenery of the shallow dragon lake. As a Chef Supreme's disciple, Zhongzhe had seen plenty of courtyards and scenery that were built with large amounts of resources. However, not far from Lin Yuan's manor, there was a lake that was dyed with rainbow colors, half a lake of huge lotus leaves, and the 100 pavilions that were built on the lotus leaves and the blooming flowers on the pavilions. All of them displayed the artistic taste of the owner of the manor. Zhongzhe's eyes were immediately attracted by the red sandalwood longevity fish tank when he entered the main residence. Compared to other people who had been to the return from faraway manor's main residence, Zhongzhe didn't appreciate the value of the scenery, but the design. While Lin Yuan was pouring tea for Zhongzhe, who was sitting on the water rhinoceros leather sofa, took out 2 brocade boxes and handed them to Lin Yuan. "One of these is a gift that I brought as a guest, and the other is the source-type wind crystal treasure vase that you asked me to find." Lin Yuan didn't stand on ceremony and took the 2 brocade boxes from Zhongzhe. He took off the bead bracelet that was wrapped around his wrist and handed it to Zhongzhe. "Big Brother Zhong, take this bead bracelet and use it first. You can return it to me when you're done with it." Zhongzhe originally only wanted to borrow one of the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls from Lin Yuan. Now that Lin Yuan handed the entire bead bracelet, which was made up of 108 heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls, to him without the slightest hesitation, Zhongzhe's heart trembled fiercely again. This bead bracelet was coiled around Lin Yuan's wrist, so it must be his favorite. Zhongzhe originally wanted to take the fire-type heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearl from Lin Yuan and put it away first. When he returned to his place, he would take the elemental pearl and let the burning sky centipede sense the pure fire elemental energy within it. However, Zhongzhe now felt that it was a little inappropriate for him to take Lin Yuan's favorite item back. Zhongzhe summoned his burning sky centipede and said to Lin Yuan, "It just so happens that my burning sky centipede is only 1 step away from bloodline purification. Why don't I take this opportunity to let the burning sky centipede feel the pure fire-type energy within the 2 elemental pearls and purify its bloodline in one go? Why don't I take this opportunity to let the burning sky centipede feel the pure fire-type energy within the 2 elemental pearls and purify its bloodline in one go?" After being summoned by Zhongzhe, the burning sky centipede first nested on Zhongzhe's neck and squeaked twice. Then it took the initiative to greet Lin Yuan. Under Zhongzhe's instructions, the burning sky centipede came to the table. Then, a surge of fire elemental energy gushed out of the burning sky centipede's body. This surge of fire elemental energy entangled the two heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls in Zhongzhe's hands. At that moment, the goddess formed by the pearls became abnormally solid. Lin Yuan found that the fire elemental energy within the burning sky centipede's body was assimilating as it sensed the pure fire elemental energy within the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls. At that moment, Zhongzhe shook his hand and took out a few cooked dishes. Zhongzhe placed the dishes in front of the burning sky centipede, allowing it to assimilate the fire elemental energy within its body while consuming the dishes to obtain pure spirit qi. These dishes were cooked by the Class 5 Creation Master, Chef Supreme. The Moon Empress was a Class 5 Creation Master, while the Class 5 Creation Master, Chef Supreme, was a Culinary Master. Upon seeing the dishes that Zhongzhe took out, Lin Yuan curiously checked them. Through true data, he found that the spirit qi concentration in these dishes was comparable to the spirit qi concentration in the spirit lock spatial zone. It was only about 57% of the spirit qi concentration in the spirit lock spatial zone. Thus, Lin Yuan clearly recognized the difference between the pure spirit qi concocted by the Class 5 Creation Master, Chef Supreme, and the pure spirit qi in the spirit lock spatial zone. New month, seeking monthly votes. Sob sob, sob. End of this chapter. Chapter 1259. Lin Yuan had been drinking tea and waiting for the burning sky centipede to complete its bloodline purification. However, at this moment, something strange happened to the burning sky roar's body. The burning sky centipede was still assimilating the fire elemental energy in its body, but for some unknown reason, its skin and flesh suddenly split open. Thick fire elemental energy mixed with blood was spewing out from the cracked skin and flesh. The fire attribute energy that was supposed to be controlled by the burning sky centipede became a weapon that could harm the burning sky centipede. Seeing this, Zhongzhe did not panic, because Zhongzhe already knew that this would happen. Due to the lack of concentration of spiritual energy in the dishes cooked by his Chef Supreme, the burning sky Ho could not complete the simultaneous strengthening of his body, while purifying the fire elemental energy in his body. However, the heaven-burning roar was a desolate bloodline spiritual object that had an innate ability to control flames. It would definitely be able to endure it. If the concentration of the spiritual energy could not keep up, it would definitely leave a big flaw in the purification of the heaven-burning Ho's bloodline. However, this was also a common problem that all spirit qi professionals with the desolate bloodline Fei had to face. At that moment, Zhongzhe saw Lin Yuan extend his hand toward him. Two tightly closed flower buds were lying quietly in Lin Yuan's palm. Big brother Zhong, these two flower buds have very pure spiritual qi. Sky-burning roar should be useful now. Upon hearing that, Zhongzhe subconsciously took the flower bud from Lin Yuan's hand and examined it. With one look, Zhongzhe's cold face, which had always been indifferent to both praise and humiliation, instantly collapsed. Zhongzhe's eyes widened like copper bells, his face revealing an abnormally shocked expression. Zhongzhe looked up at Lin Yuan with a moved and complicated expression. Yuan, this flower bud. Before Zhongzhe could finish speaking, Lin Yuan spoke up anxiously. Big brother Zhong, don't let the heaven-burning centipede use the spiritual qi in this flower bud. The heaven-burning Ho's bloodline is about to complete its evolution due to the lack of spiritual energy. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhongzhe took a deep breath and stared at Lin Yuan for a moment before throwing the two flower buds in his hands at the heaven-burning Ho. He then ordered the burning sky centipede to swallow the two flower buds. Upon hearing Zhongzhe's instructions, the heaven-burning Ho endured the pain of its body cracking. He leaped and caught the two flower buds in his mouth. As the two flower buds entered his stomach, the heaven-burning Ho's skin instantly stopped. Then, the heaven-burning centipede's fur was plated with a bright flame light. This flickering flame spread on the fur of the burning sky centipede, causing its fur to suddenly grow twice as long. At that moment, the centipede let out a violent roar. A red crystal-like curved horn suddenly grew out of the heaven-burning Ho's forehead. The heaven-burning roar's incisors, which were already protruding from its lips, were now longer and covered with a layer of transparent red substance. At the same time, the burning sky centipede's body grew from the size of 2 palms to the size of a meter-long beast. Upon seeing the burning sky centipede's current state, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of the Mountain Sea Catalog's introduction of Qi Centipede, Centipede Dragon, the Centipede, Centipede Dragon King and God, the Centipede, Centipede, Dragon, and Fei. Oh, Dragon, God, Centipede. He found it strange that Zhongzhe's heaven-burning Centipede Dragon's characteristics were different from the Centipede Dragon King in the Mountain Sea Catalog. It seemed that it was because his bloodline had not been purified. The heaven-burning centipede's appearance was exactly the same as the Mountain Sea Catalog's description of centipede. Zhongzhe was very happy to see the heaven-burning centipede's changes. Zhongzhe knew that because of the pure spirit qi that Lin Yuan had given him, the heaven-burning centipede's bloodline transformation was no longer just to increase the purity of the fire elements in his body. Even his physical body had undergone a complete transformation. It could be said that not long ago, Lin Yuan had come to his residence and given him the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearl. At this point in time, Lin Yuan had already given him 2 unexpected opportunities. When Zhongzhe was very young, Chef Supreme had told Zhongzhe, "Even if you think of yourself as a good friend, it is very likely that he will break your opportunity when it comes. As for friends who can give you opportunities on your path of growth, you must cherish them. If someone can give you opportunities many times without asking for anything in return, if that person is a woman, you will marry her. If that person is a man, you will treat him as a blood-related brother." Before Zhongzhe could think more about what Chef Supreme had said to him, the heaven-burning centipede, whose bloodline had been completely purified, suddenly spat out 8 high-grade extraordinary flames from its abdomen. These 8 extraordinary flames circulated around the heaven-burning centipede's body and were magnificent. If the heaven-burning centipede had not been controlling the 8 high-grade extraordinary flames and not letting the 8 high-grade extraordinary flames heat spill into the environment, his main residence, which was full of completely jade-textured wood furniture, would have been burned to ashes. Looking at the 8 high-grade extraordinary flames surrounding the heaven-burning centipede, his heart trembled slightly. In the previous duel with Zhongzhe in the cultural relic duel martial arena, he had seen how powerful the heaven-burning centipede's exclusive skill, 8 refinements, was. When Zhongzhe let the heaven-burning centipede attack the target, it would spit out the 8 high-grade extraordinary flames in its abdomen. The 8 high-grade extraordinary flames would constantly superimpose and gradually increase the damage 8 times. When the last damage burst, its combat power would be comparable to the strength of a top-notch extraordinary flame. At that moment, the 8 high-grade extraordinary flames were constantly purifying the fire elemental energy contained in them under the heaven-burning centipede's control. After the 8 high-grade extraordinary flames were purifying the fire elemental energy contained in them, the flames became even more crystalline. Among them, there were 7 leaping flame cores that caused faint ripples to appear in the surrounding space. Another bright red extraordinary flame's flame core even caused space to become distorted. It could be seen that the temperature of these 8 high-grade extraordinary flames had definitely increased a lot compared to before. At that moment, Zhongzhe gave an order to the heaven-burning centipede. The heaven-burning centipede retains the red plum meteorite flame and uses fire tempering to temper it with the other 7 high-grade extraordinary flames. Upon hearing Zhongzhe's instructions, the heaven-burning centipede's body moved. Then, a flame that was like a blooming red plum was summoned in front of the heaven-burning centipede. The other 7 extraordinary flames of different colors were like moths flying into a flame. One after another, they pounced toward the red plum-like flame that was summoned in front of the heaven-burning centipede. As the red plum meteorite flame devoured these high-grade extraordinary flames that had been purified and contained fire elemental energy, it was constantly becoming stronger. In the process of absorbing the 5 extraordinary flames, the red plum meteorite flame's surroundings even faintly showed the phenomenon of red plum blossoms fluttering in the wind and frost spreading. Lin Yuan thought, it seems that Zhongzhe is doing this to use the other 7 extraordinary flames to promote the red plum meteorite flame from a high-grade extraordinary flame to a top-notch extraordinary flame. Chapter 1260. If the red plum blossoms fluttering in the wind and frost blossoms, phenomenon behind the red plum meteorite was completed. The red plum meteorite flame would then truly become a top-notch heavenly flame. This was because only the burning of a top-notch heavenly flame would cause a phenomenon. When Zhongzhe saw the changes in the red plum meteorite flame, he flipped his hand and a brocade pouch appeared in his hand. After Zhongzhe opened the brocade pouch, Lin Yuan saw that it was filled with fire-type heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls. At this moment, Zhongzhe was throwing the fire attribute heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls into the sky, burning Ho one by one. He allowed the burning sky roar to use its pure fire elemental energy to nourish the red plum meteorite fire that was absorbing the other 7 strange fires with all its might. Zhongzhe's decision to let the red plum meteorite flame devour the other 7 advanced mystical flames was not a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was a decision that Zhongzhe had made a long time ago. The red plum meteorite flame was the strange flame that Zhongzhe was most comfortable with among all the strange flames he had encountered. In truth, the red plum meteorite flame was not a high-grade mysterious flame at first. Zhongzhe had discovered that as an intermediate mysterious flame, the red plum meteorite flame's temperature was much higher than other intermediate mysterious flames. Hence, Zhongzhe had the burning heaven roar continuously increase the strength of the crimson plum meteorite through its skill, flame refinement, upgrading the crimson meteorite from an intermediate mysterious flame to an advanced mysterious flame. The red plum meteorite flame did not disappoint Zhongzhe. The high temperature released by the red plum meteorite flame, a high-grade mysterious flame, was comparable to some top-notch mysterious flames. High temperature was one of the characteristics of the fire element that Zhongzhe needed the most. Whether it was the heaven's crimson fire or the reincarnated flame beast, the high temperature was extremely high. Both of them could greatly enhance the lethality of the two. At the same time, the high temperature of the red plum meteorite flame could enhance the characteristics of other mystical flames to a certain extent. After all, high temperature was a basic condition for flames to burn. In addition, the high-temperature red plum meteorite was summoned by the burning sky roar, which was equivalent to releasing an area of effect damage. At that moment, Zhongzhe was clenching his fists tightly. He was looking forward to the temperature increase of the advanced red plum meteorite flame after it advanced to a top-notch strange flame. Zhongzhe, who had been burning with misfortune since he was young, had long been used to using his mind to suppress the surging battle intent that was constantly born from the misfortune in his heart. It could be said that Zhongzhe had been using his mind to build a dam to resist the tide of battle intent from swallowing his rationality. In that case, the emotional fluctuation toward Lin Yuan just now was equivalent to shaking the dam. Now that this sense of anticipation was born, it opened a hole in the dam of Zhongzhe's mind. The collapse of a 1,000-mile dike could be caused by an ant's nest. Battle intent gushed out from the hole in the dam, instantly causing the dam that Zhongzhe's mind had forged to collapse. The hidden redness in Zhongzhe's eyes suddenly spread out. Zhongzhe's eyes, whether it was his eyeballs or the whites of his eyes, were instantly dyed blood red. Zhongzhe's remaining rationality made him think to himself, "Oh no!" Previously, Zhongzhe had also been in a situation where he had nowhere to vent his fighting spirit. Under such circumstances, Zhongzhe would often find a place to unleash his battle intent, until he was completely exhausted and had no more strength to move. Every time Zhongzhe used this method to release his battle intent, he could release the majority of his battle intent. This allowed Zhongzhe to suppress his battle intent and maintain his rationality for the next half a month. This is Lin Yuan's mansion. I won't destroy Lin Yuan's mansion if I go crazy, right? However, Zhongzhe didn't have time to worry because his remaining rationality had been completely devoured by the battle intent. While the intense battle intent devoured Zhongzhe's rationality, Zhongzhe let out a roar similar to that of a trapped beast. Zhongzhe's roar startled Wenyu. As a result, the burning roar could no longer focus on using flame's refinement to strengthen the red plum meteorite flame with its final advanced mysterious flame. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan spoke to Wenyu. "Wenyu is fine. I have a solution for Zhongzhe," he hurriedly said to the burning sky roar. "Leave the burning heaven roar to me. Calm down and upgrade the red plum meteoric flame." Otherwise, Zhongzhe's hopes of elevating the red plum meteoric flame to a top-notch heavenly flame will be completely dashed. You don't want Zhongzhe to be disappointed because he didn't see the top-notch meteoric red plum flame when he wakes up, right? After appeasing the burning heaven mantis, he immediately flashed into the spirit lock spatial zone. He grabbed a handful of pollen that astrologer Jitan had just matured and had yet to collect. After leaving the spirit lock spatial zone and returning to the main mansion, Lin Yuan immediately scattered the astrologer wisdom epiphyllum's pollen on Zhongzhe, who was preparing to launch indiscriminate attacks in the surroundings. Zhongzhe inhaled the pollen, but it did not make the blood-red color in his eyes fade. However, it allowed Zhongzhe to calm down and was no longer as crazy as before. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan once again returned to the spirit lock spatial zone and grabbed another handful of astrologer Jitan's pollen. However, this time Lin Yuan did not directly scatter the pollen on Zhongzhe. Instead, he took the crane shadow sensor. After crushing astrologer Jitan's pollen with his hands, he sprinkled the crushed pollen on the burning, jade-textured agarwood. By burning the incense, he allowed the pollen to completely release the fragrance. Lin Yuan placed the crane shadow sensor beside Zhongzhe and let Zhongzhe try his best to fumigate the pollen. After the second handful of pollen was completely burned, Zhongzhe's battle intent was gradually suppressed. This allowed Zhongzhe to once again build a dam in his mind to isolate the battle intent. Lin Yuan frowned as he looked at the astrology wisdom cloud's pollen in the crane shadow incense cauldron. According to the consumption of the astrological epiphyllum pollen, as well as Zhongzhe's current state after absorbing the astrological epiphyllum pollen, Lin Yuan could tell that Zhongzhe's misfortune influence was much more severe than Wang Fuxiang's. Fortunately, as long as there was a long-term supply of astrological epiphyllum pollen, Zhongzhe's bad luck could still be completely eliminated. However, this period of time could be as short as half a year, or as long as a year. After Zhongzhe regained consciousness, in front of Zhongzhe's eyes appeared a strange scene of red plum blossoms soar to the clouds, purple blossoms bloom, crimson colors cover the sky. The red plum blossom in the vision stretched out its enchanting branches, constantly changing the shape of its branches. As the plum blossom branches stretched out, the bright red plum blossoms on the branches bloomed and fell. When the red plum-shaped flower was at its most beautiful, it would instantly wither. The rustling shadows of the fallen plum blossoms were extremely charming and gentle. Furthermore, this vision had never disappeared since it appeared. In the center of the vision, the red plum-shaped flame was burning brightly. However, Zhongzhe no longer had the mood to pay attention to the long-awaited red plum meteorite flame. He also didn't bother about the burning sky centipede, which had come to his side and was worriedly stirring its ears. Instead, he fixed his gaze on Lin Yuan. Chapter 1261. Ever since he was young, Zhongzhe's greatest fear was that his mind would be controlled by the surging battle intent caused by misfortune. The burning sensation of being filled with battle intent was one thing, but more importantly, Zhongzhe had been taught to be a powerhouse since he was young. Therefore, Zhongzhe did not like to let things get out of his control. What's more, he couldn't control his own body. Even Supreme Chef didn't know that because Zhongzhe's mind was often controlled by the fighting will. This caused Zhongzhe to be infected with the disease of nightmares. Not only did Zhongzhe have to face the feeling of being controlled by battle intent in reality, but he was also forced to review that feeling in his dreams. Until he woke up from his dream, the fact that his mind could be controlled by battle intent had always been a knot in Zhongzhe's life. A knot that could not be untied. Ever since he had smelled Lin Yuan's scent at the Night Ruler's assembly. In Zhongzhe's nightmares, there would often be a figure with a delicate fragrance that could help him suppress his battle intent. This figure allowed Zhongzhe to no longer fight the Nightmare Lord alone. It also made Zhongzhe less afraid of the Nightmare Lord. In the process of being controlled by the fighting will, Zhongzhe smelled this fragrance again. The appearance of this fragrance even made Zhongzhe think that he was dreaming. However, the fragrance he smelled just now was far stronger than in his dream, and it also made him more awake. It was only when Zhongzhe once again used his mind to build a dam, blocking the surging battle intent that he finally regained consciousness. Only then did Zhongzhe realize that he wasn't in a dream, but reality. Zhongzhe didn't know what the fragrance was when he was controlled by the fighting will just now. However, Zhongzhe was now 100% sure that this fragrance did not come from Lin Yuan. Instead, he had something that could suppress the misfortune. Not long ago, Zhongzhe had gone to the purple bamboo forest with his chef supreme. He had heard that the Moon Empress had used a spirit herb to remove Wang Fuxiang's bad luck. After that, his master, Chef Supreme, had personally begged the Moon Empress, but she had not agreed. Lin Yuan's fragrant spirit herb should be the same as the one the Moon Empress had given to Wang Fuxiang. Lin Yuan saw that Zhongzhe was staring at him, but did not speak for a moment. Lin Yuan was the first to speak. Big brother Zhong, congratulations on successfully upgrading your high-grade red plum cloud flame to a peak-grade mysterious flame. Upon hearing that, Zhongzhe's heart could not help but feel warm again. The burning sky centipede had told him what Lin Yuan had done when he had communicated with him spiritually. Based on Zhongzhe's understanding of the burning sky centipede, if not for Lin Yuan's comfort, the burning sky centipede would not have survived. The heaven-burning Ho would definitely not be in the mood to continue strengthening the red plum cloud fire because of his condition. It could be said that Lin Yuan had played a huge role in evolving the high-class red plum cloud flame into a pinnacle strange flame. However, Zhongzhe only remembered that his master, Chef Supreme, once said that if a woman gave him many opportunities without asking for anything in return, he should marry her. If a man gave him many opportunities, then he should treat him as his blood-related brother. But if it was a man who not only gave her many opportunities, what should he do if he was able to pull him out in a time of crisis? Zhongzhe carried the burning sky roar and said to Lin Yuan with an abnormally solemn expression, "Brother, I can't thank you enough." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan reached out and patted Zhongzhe's shoulder. "You've already called me brother, but big brother Zhong is still so polite with me." After saying that, Lin Yuan thought about the production of astrologer Jitan and Zhongzhe's current misfortune. After thinking for a moment, he asked Zhongzhe, "Big brother Zhong, is it convenient for you to tell me about your misfortune?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhongzhe answered without hesitation. "When I was young, I encountered an attack and almost died. That was when I was infected with misfortune. All these years, Master has thought of many ways to get rid of the misfortune I've been infected with. In recent years, the misfortune's influence on me has been getting stronger. In the early years, I could suppress my battle intent for at least 4 months. However, as I grew older and my mind became stronger, I could only suppress my battle intent for a month. And this is under the condition that I'm not affected by external influences during this month. Previously, Master tested me and found that under the stimulation of the external environment, even if I suppressed the battle intent brought by the misfortune with all my might, I would still go berserk 3 times in a month." At that point, Zhongzhe's face revealed a painful expression. It could be said that this was the thing that Zhongzhe was most unwilling to recall. If Lin Yuan had not asked, even if Gu Lang had mentioned this matter, Zhongzhe would not have chosen to reopen his scar again. After knowing that the fragrance on Lin Yuan's body came from a spirit herb that could suppress his misfortune, Zhongzhe had the thought of asking Lin Yuan about this spirit herb. Thus, Zhongzhe had the thought of asking Lin Yuan about this spirit herb. Since his master had not obtained this spirit herb from the Moon Empress, could he obtain some spirit herbs from Lin Yuan to suppress his misfortune? If he ignored the misfortune, he might not even need 3 years. He would become a killing machine controlled by his battle intent. In the end, before Zhongzhe could speak, Lin Yuan spoke first. "Big brother Zhong, I should have a way to deal with your misfortune. However, you will need to go through a period of treatment that could be as short as half a year or as long as a year." When Zhongzhe heard Lin Yuan's words, he was startled. Zhongzhe never expected that when he was thinking about how to mention this spirit herb, Lin Yuan had already taken the initiative to treat his misfortune. Lin Yuan had already taken the initiative to treat the misfortune he was infected with. Zhongzhe, who had just said that he would not thank Lin Yuan with words, knew that he really did not need to thank him now. Using words to express his gratitude was equivalent to blaspheming Lin Yuan's intentions. If Lin Yuan could treat his misfortune, let alone half a year or as long as a year, even if he treated it for 10 or 20 years, he might not even be able to take root. As long as he could suppress his misfortune, it was equivalent to helping him reshape his life that was tortured by misfortune. In the future, he would not have to be forced to endure a torturous nightmare when he fell asleep every day. He would also not have to be afraid that one day he would be controlled by his battle intent when he was improving his strength. He would not have to use the strength that he had worked hard to increase to hurt the people closest to him. Brother, if you need me for anything in the future, I will definitely go through water and tread on fire without hesitation. Upon hearing Zhongzai's words, Lin Yuan suddenly recalled the spirit fixation silver mine that the goblins had discovered at the border of the Divine Wood Federation. Lin Yuan had previously thought of recruiting manpower and using the large amount of spirit fixation silver produced by the spirit fixation silver mine to make artifacts and sell them. The artifacts made of spirit fixation silver were considered daily necessities for creation masters and were in great demand. However, if he wanted to make spirit fixation silver in large quantities, it was definitely not enough to rely on the spirit craftsmen in the Heavenly Craft Pavilion. Chapter 1262. Lin Yuan did not want to create a team from scratch to produce and consume the spirit-calming silver ores. This would make the Sky City's composition appear too bloated. In addition to investing a lot of material resources, it would also take a lot of effort. Moreover, the team created for the spirit-calming silver was destined to collide with the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's function. This was not what Lin Yuan wanted. In addition, the spirit-calming goblins could almost be equivalent to a walking mine. Apart from the spirit-calming silver ores, the spirit-calming goblins might find other ores. In order to keep up with the spirit-calming goblins' mining speed, Lin Yuan would almost have to create a huge team from scratch that was comparable to a top faction. After all, top factions could not continuously develop ores in a very short time. Therefore, after thinking about it, Lin Yuan felt that he might as well be idle. He would simply do the business of the mineral itself. Big Brother Zhong, I really have something to ask you. I don't know if you've heard that faction currently has a project that needs a lot of minerals. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhongzai raised his brows and thought to himself, could Lin Yuan have found some ores? In the Radiance Federation, ores could not be mined at will. In each of the 32 major cities, all the ores within a radius of 10,000 square kilometers belong to the major cities. Only ores within a radius of 10,000 kilometers could be freely mined by the factions. Those places that were not under the control of the major cities had long been occupied by a few top factions, dozens of veteran factions, and hundreds of rising factions. This cake was not easy to divide. However, Zhongzai happened to have a ready-made project that required a lot of ores. One of the top factions, Hearthstone, which specialized in metal and spiritual materials, was backed by Chef Supreme. Therefore, Hearthstone had offered many newly discovered ores to Chef Supreme in exchange for the opportunity to enhance phase. Chef Supreme had also handed over these ores to him to deal with. It happened that Gulang's side was in a similar situation. Therefore, Zhongzai simply partnered with Gulang and set up a faction that specialized in developing ores. This faction took in nearly 10,000 spirit craftsmen. The Creation Master team that Zhongzai set up would provide a lot of Creation Master resources for this faction every year. If Lin Yuan had a lot of ores to consume, then don't think about taking all of them, Zhongzai said as he recalled his 50% shares in this faction. Lin Yuan, Gulang and I established a faction 7 to 8 years ago. Because this organization only works for me and Gulang, it doesn't even have a name. This force usually uses metal spirit materials to forge artifacts, or carve metal spirit materials into cubes of equal size, and then sells these artifacts and cubes in the market. Why don't I give you 25% of this force's shares? If you need any more metals or spirit materials in the future, you can just throw them to this force. When you heard Zhongzai's words, she was shocked. No matter how busy Wenyu was, she never slowed down her work of gathering intelligence for Sky City. He naturally knew how much resources and cash flow Zhongzhe and Gu Lang had established this faction. Even though Sky City had a lot of resources at its disposal right now, there was still a lot of them. However, the resources of Sky City could probably match up to 5% of that force's resources. After all, the resources of such a force that controlled the mine were all given by the heavens and earth. Zhongzhe had given Lin Yuan 25% of the faction's shares to thank him. In Wen Yu's opinion, Zhongzhe was too wasteful. There was no need to thank someone like this. Even if Wen Yu was a spirit attendant, it was hard to imagine that someone would give away such a huge amount of wealth with just a few words. What was the difference between Zhongzhe giving Lin Yuan 25% of the faction's shares and Master Mystic Moon cutting the Radiant Moon Palace's purse and giving it away? When Lin Yuan heard Zhongzhe's words, he hurriedly shook his head. Big Brother Zhong, even a brother can't give away shares for no reason. But if Big Brother Zhong has a faction that can consume a lot of metal spirit materials, then I can really cooperate with you. Seeing that Zhongzhe was still insisting on giving him 25% of the shares, Lin Yuan hurriedly added, "If I cooperate with Big Brother Zhong, you won't let me suffer a loss, right?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhongzhe could not continue to insist and could only say helplessly, "If I cooperate with you, I won't let you suffer a loss. Even if I suffer a loss, I won't let you suffer a loss." After thinking for a moment, Lin Yuan told Zhongzhe the truth. "Big Brother Zhong, I usually go to the outer realm to train. When I encountered an underground dimensional rift in the outer realm, I happened to catch a mineral vein gnome, and the mineral vein gnome also happened to find a spirit-stabilizing silver mine. I want to discuss a deal with Big Brother Zhong for an entire spirit-stabilizing silver mine." When Zhongzhe heard Lin Yuan's words, he could not help but click his tongue. Lin Yuan's series of coincidences were simply too coincidental. Not only did he encounter a spirit-stabilizing silver mine, but he also encountered a mineral vein gnome. With a mineral vein gnome, it meant that there would be countless large mines waiting to be excavated in the future. If Zhongzhe had simply wanted to help Lin Yuan before, he now felt that he was not helping Lin Yuan. Instead, Lin Yuan was helping him. With the continuous mining of the mineral vein, the minerals contained in the mineral vein were getting lesser and lesser. In addition, new mineral veins were extremely difficult to find, so the spirit craftsmen of Zhongzhe and Gu Lang's faction only needed to work about 6 hours a day. If Lin Yuan could provide a large number of ores, then as long as the faction's spirit craftsmen worked longer, he would immediately be able to create a huge amount of wealth. "Lin Yuan, if I had only given you 25% of the shares earlier, now I think I should give you at least 30% of the shares to cooperate with you. Of course, the shares that I'm talking about now are completely based on the actual value of the exchange, not including other factors." Zhongzhe paused for a moment before continuing. "Lin Yuan, do you have any intention of using the mine to invest in the faction that Gu Lang and I have established? If there is, I will contact Gu Lang now and clarify the division of shares." Lin Yuan felt that Zhongzhe's suggestion was very feasible. Using the mine to buy shares was the most convenient option for Lin Yuan. He just had to wait for the shares to be distributed peacefully. He didn't need to worry too much about it. Thus, Lin Yuan nodded. "All right, Big Brother Zhong. Why don't you call Gu Lang over, and we can talk face to face?" Zhongzhe immediately dialed Gu Lang's number. Chapter 1263. Zhongzhe's call went through for a long time before Gu Lang picked it up. "Hey Zezi, you said you were going into seclusion the last time I called you. Are you out now?" Upon hearing Gu Lang's voice, Zhongzhe's face immediately revealed a surprised expression. Zhongzhe was not surprised by Gu Lang's words. It was because Zhongzhe could hear a deep sense of fatigue in Gu Lang's words. When Gu Lang picked up the phone, there was obviously someone talking on the other end. As the voice was not loud, Zhongzhe could not clearly hear what was said. Before Zhongzhe could speak, he heard Gu Lang take the phone far away. Then he shouted in an unfriendly tone, "I'm on the phone. Wait for me to finish the call before we talk." After Gu Lang said this, there was no more voice beside him. Gu Lang took the phone and smiled apologetically before continuing to speak to Zhongzhe. "Zezi, I came to Cold Frost City for some matters. I thought that since the Class 5 Swamp Dimensional Rift opened in Cold Frost City, I would be able to capture a few black swamp houseflies. In the end, not only did I fail, but I also encountered an he. Upon hearing Gulang's words, Zhongzhe frowned. Zhongzhe was looking for Gulang to discuss the shares. Zhongzhe's phone was on speakerphone, and Lin Yuan could hear Gulang's words. Lin Yuan had never seen an he before, but he was no stranger to the name. Among the Radiance Federation's 13 majesties, one of them was in charge of all the lifestyle class Spirit Chi professional guilds apart from the Creation Master Association. This majesty was the Eternal Lamp Majesty. The Eternal Lamp Majesty was low-key among the 13 majesties, but he could not be low-key even if he wanted to. This was because the Eternal Lamp Majesty's eldest disciple was this batch's third Radiance envoy. Even though the Eternal Lamp Majesty's eldest disciple did not have Creation Master talent, he was an extremely talented healing-type Spirit Chi professional. The Enhe that Gulang had just mentioned was the Eternal Lamp Majesty's youngest disciple. The Eternal Lamp Majesty's youngest disciple, and he, like his senior brother, had an extremely strong talent as a healing-type Spirit Chi professional. Moreover, and he had already obtained a Radiant Light Medal, and was very likely to be a Radiance Envoy-seated player in 2 years. Although Lin Yuan and Gu He had never crossed paths before, Lin Yuan knew Gu He's temper very well. Gulang had always been a gentle person. If he wasn't provoked, Gulang wouldn't use such a heavy tone at all. Gulang, and he should have a lot of conflicts between them. Langzi, you and Anhao are fighting again? Gulang said helplessly when he heard Zhongzhe's words. It won't be to the extent of fighting, but if I encounter Angi's Class 5 Swamp Dimensional Rift, I won't be able to explore freely. The sacred source life form was snatched by Enhe's men. Fortunately, I managed to get 3 pieces of high-level swamp soil. Otherwise, we would have come here for nothing. Hearing Gulang's words, Zhongzhe clenched his fists tightly. Obviously, Zhongzhe also had a lot of opinions about Enhe. Gulang did not hesitate too much and directly changed the topic. Zizi, why are you looking for me? If it's because you want to vent your fighting spirit and challenge me to a fight, you probably won't be able to make it. I still need at least 10 days before I can return to the capital. Gulang was 1 year older than Zhongzhe. When he was young, Zhongzhe had been rather antisocial and didn't like to talk to others. Because of the assassination attempt, Zhongzhe had become even less talkative. Therefore, Gulang would always take the initiative to look for Zhongzhe. If Zhongzhe happened to look for him, 9 out of 10 times it would be to challenge him. When Zhongzhe heard Gulang's words, his expression suddenly softened. Langzi, a Yuan has a way to completely resolve my bad luck. In the future, I probably won't challenge you to a fight because of my fighting spirit. Upon hearing Zhongzhe's words, Gulang's exhausted face immediately revealed a look of pleasant surprise. When Gulang found out that the Moon Empress had given his mistress, Wang Fuxiang, a spirit herb that could resolve bad luck, Gulang immediately thought of Zhongzhe. Zhongzhe and his mistress, Wang Fuxiang, were both afflicted with bad luck. Since the Moon Empress spirit herb could resolve Wang Fuxiang's bad luck, it would definitely be able to resolve Zhongzhe's bad luck. Gulang had wanted to mention this to his master, the Bamboo Monarch, more than once, but in the end he could not bring himself to say it. After all, Wang Fuxiang's bad luck had yet to be completely resolved. If he were to have designs on the spirit herb now, it would be rather unfilial. At that moment, when Gulang knew that Zhongzhe's bad luck could be cured by Lin Yuan, he was extremely happy for Zhongzhe. As His Majesty's disciple, Gulang had been fawned on and flattered by various factions since young. In such an environment, it was very difficult for Gulang to make friends. When he was young, Gulang's only friend was Zhongzhe. During the gathering, Lin Yuan had unconditionally gifted the Golden Silk Emperor Bamboo's bamboo shoot to him. It was the same as extending his future path as a creation master. Now that Lin Yuan had saved Zhongzhe, Gulang's gratitude towards Lin Yuan deepened. Through Zhongzhe addressing Lin Yuan as a Yuan, Gulang knew that Zhongzhe had already treated Lin Yuan as a good brother like himself. Just as Gulang was preparing to congratulate Zhongzhe, he heard Zhongzhe's voice coming from the other end. Langzi, I am at a Yuan's place. I have been on speakerphone. I'm calling you this time because I want to talk to you about our faction's shares. When Gulang heard Zhongzhe's words, he thought that Zhongzhe wanted to give a portion of his shares to Lin Yuan. Recalling Lin Yuan's help, Gulang said, "How about this? How about this? We each take out 25% of the shares and give it to A Yuan." Upon hearing Gulang's words, Lin Yuan revealed a helpless expression again. Do all Big Shot's disciples give away shares just because of a disagreement? Before Zhongzhe could react from Gulang's words, Lin Yuan hurriedly interrupted. "Big brother Gu, why are both of you saying that you want to give me shares? What's going on? Big brother Zhong is calling to talk about the cooperation between us." By the way, from what Big brother Gu said just now, it seems like Big brother Gu is looking for the swamp world's black swamp flies. If Big brother Gu needs the black swamp flies, I should have a way to get a few. The black swamp flies were a very rare swamp dimensional life form. The black swamp flies were rather similar to the swamp water moss. A young black swamp flies couldn't even defeat a normal 100 questions beast. However, a swamp dimensional life form like the black swamp flies also had an immeasurable upper limit. If they had sufficient resources and could ensure that they wouldn't be killed by their natural enemies during the growth process, the black swamp flies were easier to evolve than other dimensional life forms. End of this chapter. Chapter 1264. Lin Yuan remembered that Gulang had nurtured a snake medusa. Gulang's need for the black swamp flies should be related to the snake medusa's talent. Otherwise, Lin Yuan really could not think of why Gulang would want a swamp dimensional life form like the black swamp flies. Lin Yuan could enter the swamp world through the Klein hub at any time. No matter how rare the black swamp flies were, it was much better than Gulang opening class 5 swamp dimensional rifts one by one. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, most of the fatigue on Gulang's face disappeared. If Lin Yuan could help him find the black swamp flies, then the snake medusa that he had painstakingly obtained could come in handy. Since it was something he really needed, Gulang did not stand on ceremony. "Thank you, Lin Yuan. The black swamp flies are indeed very useful to me." According to Lin Yuan's words, Gulang knew that Lin Yuan did not want to take his shares for nothing. Moreover, Lin Yuan had clearly rejected Zhongzhe. Thus, Gulang did not mention giving Lin Yuan shares again. Instead, he used a real cooperation attitude to discuss the division of shares with Zhongzhe and Lin Yuan. In the end, Zhongzhe and Lin Yuan each held 33.3% of the faction's shares, while Gulang held 33.4%. Gulang would spend his time managing the faction's operation. After discussing the matter, Zhongzhe looked at the time and went to the kitchen to deal with the newly fished crabs from the evolving dragon pond. At that moment, when you looked at Lin Yuan with eyes full of deep worship, as the behind-the-scenes operator of a faction, she understood how difficult it was to accumulate resources. However, Lin Yuan had managed to negotiate such a huge deal with just a few words. Just as when you was looking at Lin Yuan with stars in her eyes, Lin Yuan said to her, the shares on your side have been confirmed. If there's anything in the future, you'll communicate with Gulang." Upon hearing that, Wen Yu replied with a smile, "Don't worry, young master. I'll carefully follow up on these matters and handle them well." While Wen Yu was talking to him, Lin Yuan found that Lu Jie had returned. Lu Jie was still carrying a lot of fresh spiritual ingredients. However, Lu Jie's nose, which had just entered the house, keenly captured a crab's fragrance in the house. It looked very different as it nestled on the sofa, but it was still a sky-burning centipede fey. Lu Jie immediately knew that Zhongzhe had arrived. For some reason, Lu Jie had harbored some enmity towards Zhongzhe. Lu Jie couldn't figure out where this hostility came from. However, Lu Jie and Zhongzhe had been busy cooking in the kitchen during the last gathering, and they had become friends after exchanging cooking skills with each other. When eating at Zhongzhe's place, Lu Jie remembered that Lin Yuan had praised Zhongzhe's cooking more than once. And last time, because Zhongzhe was making the secret 300 plates of kitchen incense palace, he could only help Zhongzhe in the kitchen. Now that he was in the manor, He finally had a chance to compete with Zhongzhe. Since Zhongzhe was cooking, he would do it himself. This way, his and Zhongzhe's dishes could be served together for Lin Yuan to judge and see whose culinary skills were better. Lin Yuan scratched the back of his head as he watched Lu Jie rush to the kitchen after greeting him. He didn't understand why Lu Jie, who had always been steady, would suddenly become so energetic. However, Lin Yuan was still looking forward to the two chefs cooking together. During the few days he had gone to the Divine Wood Federation to train, Lin Yuan hadn't had a good meal, and he had suffered when eating in the Radiant Moon Palace. Now he finally had a chance to have a feast. No matter how meticulous a chef's cooking was, they would not be too slow. In addition, there were only Lin Yuan, Wenyu Lu Jie, and Zhongzhe in the manor. The mother of Bloodbath, which could eat the most, was not in the manor. It had gone out to meet its friends in the food group. The mother of Bloodbath really didn't have the good fortune to eat. Lin Yuan estimated that in less than 40 minutes, Zhongzhe and Lu Jie each walked out of the kitchen with 5 dishes. Lin Yuan didn't know what had happened in the kitchen with Lu Jie and Lu Jie. However, what surprised him was that Zhongzhe and Lu Jie's 5 dishes used almost the same ingredients. It was just that the cooking methods of each dish were slightly different. Zhongzhe was good at steaming and stewing, while Lu Jie was good at frying and stir-frying. Each had their own specialties. For example, Zhongzhe used the method of steaming and boiling the crab roe from the kitchen incense palace's Dragon Lake. The fresh crab roe was dense, and the rich crab roe had a faint spicy taste in the mouth. The vinegar could seep the sour fragrance into the crab shell, under the premise of fully moistening the crab meat. The vinegar's sour fragrance would perfectly combine with the crab roe to form an extremely fresh taste. Zhongzhe's method was probably in line with the saying, 100 flavor acid is the best. Lu Jie first used his knife skills to dismember the crab roe and took out the crab roe. He used the crab roe as the base and stir-fried it with the seasoning in the pot. Then he added some spicy side dishes and mixed them with the base made of crab roe. Finally, he covered the dismembered crab roe with the side dishes and used the spiciness of the side dishes and the fresh crab roe to cook the crab meat that was cooked over the fire. Letting the crab meat absorb the fragrance of the side dishes and crab roe was equivalent to forcibly fusing the crab roe's freshness into the chewy crab meat. It could be said that Lu Jie's and Zhongzhe's 5 dishes each had their own merits. If one had to compare, it could only be that everyone's different taste preferences. Those who liked light flavors tended to prefer Zhongzhe's method of boiling the crab roe with vinegar. Those with a stronger taste would like Lu Jie's method of cooking with sauce. Lin Yuan and Wenyu, who were attracted by the aroma and color, did not see the fighting spirit in Zhongzhe's and Lu Jie's eyes at all. They also did not want to judge whose cooking skills were better. While Lin Yuan and Wenyu were eating to their heart's content, Zhongzhe and Lu Jie kept their eyes on Lin Yuan and Wenyu. They looked at which dish Lin Yuan and Wenyu ate more to determine whose dish was more popular. Wenyu was a foodie who could usually eat more than 4 bowls of rice. After Lin Yuan had used the geocentric jade milk to be reborn, his appetite was also much bigger than before. Food could be digested as soon as it entered the stomach. Therefore, Lin Yuan and Wenyu almost took care of all 10 dishes. Halfway through, Lin Yuan and Wenyu were a little embarrassed when they saw that Zhongzhe and Lu Jie had basically not moved their chopsticks. Finally, after Zhongzhe and Lu Jie made it clear that they could not eat anymore, Lin Yuan and Wenyu used the whirlwind ladle and spiral chopsticks. Upon seeing the 10 plates being eaten clean, Zhongzhe and Lu Jie could not help but look at each other. After looking at each other, Zhongzhe and Lu Jie scratched the back of their heads in unison. When all the dishes were finished, the fighting spirit in Zhongzhe's and Lu Jie's eyes slowly decreased. For the time being, they would consider it a tie. Those who are afraid of hunger at night should try not to read this chapter first. Sob sob sob. End of this chapter. Chapter 1265. At that moment, Zhongzhe heard Lin Yuan, who had eaten and drunk to his heart's content, speak. Big brother Zhong, when you helped me get the Wind Crystal Aquarius from the Whale Ocean Trade's Myriad Origins Hall, did you notice that the Myriad Origins Hall was a little different from before? Lin Yuan had asked Zhongzhe because he wanted to see if there were any abnormalities with the Whale Ocean Trade's Myriad Origins Hall. It was impossible that the Myriad Origins Hall did not know that the Myriad Flags Hall had exterminated the Sea Sky Hall. If there were no abnormalities with the Myriad Origins Hall, it would be very strange no matter how he looked at it. On the other hand, Lin Yuan also wanted to find out more about the Whale Ocean Trade from Zhongzhe. After all, one of the top 3 factions, the Whale Ocean Trade, had always been backed by Chef Supreme. As Chef Supreme's disciple, Zhongzhe must be very familiar with the Whale Ocean Trade. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhongzhe was not in a hurry to answer him. Instead, he began to think carefully. Zhongzhe had not interacted with Lin Yuan for long since he had known him. However, Zhongzhe knew that Lin Yuan was a person who had a clear purpose in every word he said. There was no need for others to spend too much effort to guess Lin Yuan's thoughts. Therefore, when Lin Yuan mentioned the Whale Ocean Trade, there had to be a reason. In the process of thinking, Zhongzhe decided to tell Lin Yuan about the relationship between the Kitchen Fragrance Palace and the Whale Ocean Trade. Brother, the relationship between the Whale Ocean Trade and the Kitchen Fragrance Palace is not as good as before. The Whale Ocean Trade has not come to the Kitchen Fragrance Palace to ask for Creation Master resources for 3 to 4 years. However, the Whale Ocean Trade is still maintaining its tribute to the Kitchen Fragrance Palace, making others think that the relationship between the Whale Ocean Trade and the Kitchen Fragrance Palace is still very close. If there is anything special about the Whale Ocean Trade recently, it would be that after Di Wantian, Di Wanqing has also successfully become an immortal. This news was leaked by the Whale Ocean Trade itself. Currently, the Whale Ocean Trade is the only faction with 2 immortals among the top 3 factions. At this point, Zhongzhe's expression paused slightly before he continued. After decades of development, the Rhine life form and the Brahma insect cage have obtained Creation Master resources from your master, the Moon Empress and Gulang's master, the Bamboo Monarch. It is impossible for a faction to only have one Emperor-class expert who has become an immortal. It's just that the Rhine life form and the Brahma insect cage have never revealed their trump cards. Compared to the Rhine Lifeform's Brahma Bug Cage, the fact that 2 experts from the Whale Ocean Trade's self-detonation force are trying to get their hands on undying beings is much more high-profile. However, this kind of high-profile is understandable. Zhai Wantian's son, Zhai Hao, has already been confirmed to participate in the Radiance 100 sequence selection this year. The Whale Ocean Trading Company's Di Wantian only has one son. Zhai Hao is definitely the young patriarch of the Whale Ocean Trading Company's Myriad Banners branch. Zhai Hao should be 25 or 26 years old this year. He didn't participate in the Radiance 100 sequence selection previously, but he suddenly wants to participate this year. There's only one explanation. That is the Whale Ocean Trade's 10,000 Flags lineage, or rather, Zhai Hao. He isn't eyeing the Radiance 100 sequence. Instead, he wants to use the Radiance 100 sequence as a springboard to run for the Radiance Envoy selection in 2 years. This is the only reason why the Whale Ocean Trade, which has always kept a low profile, would suddenly make such a high-profile decision. Upon hearing Zhongzhe's information, Lin Yuan increasingly felt that something was wrong with the Whale Ocean Trading. If it was purely to build momentum, they would be willing to release the news that 2 experts in their clan had become immortals. It would destroy the balance that the 3 major factions had maintained for a long time. In that case, the Whale Ocean Trade's 10,000 Flags lineage had no reason to exterminate the Sea Sky lineage, where most of its members were Creation Masters. It had to be known that exterminating the Sea Sky lineage was equivalent to reducing the Whale Ocean Trade's overall Creation Master reserves. This itself was contrary to the purpose of building momentum for Zhai Hao. When the members of the top factions participated in the Radiance 100 sequence test, they generally didn't need to have their identities verified. After all, the signboard of the top factions was there. However, if one wanted to participate in the Radiance Envoy selection, then no matter who it was, the Radiance Sacred Hall would clearly check their resume. He wasn't sure if his identity as the Sky City's City Lord would be found out, but his identity as Black, a Spirit Chi professional, was destined to not be hidden. The Whale Ocean Trade's 10,000 Flags lineage had used underhanded means to lure and kill the Sea Sky lineage. When Zhai Hao participated in the Radiance Envoy selection 2 years later, the Radiance Sacred Hall would definitely find out. This kind of internal strife using murder methods was a huge negative news. With this negative news, Zhai Hao was destined to be unable to become a Radiance Envoy. It was impossible for the Whale Ocean Trade's 10,000 Flags lineage to not know about this. Therefore, no matter how one looked at it, the Whale Ocean Trade's sudden high profile and Zhai Hao's sudden participation in the Radiance 100 sequence selection were more like a means to attract the world's attention to these two matters. It was to cover up some strange behavior of the Whale Ocean Trade itself. However, no matter how they hid it, even if Zhai Hao did not participate in the Radiance Envoy selection 2 years later, the Whale Ocean Trade's high profile was enough to attract the attention of the High Lords. The Whale Ocean Trade's purpose was so big, it was very likely to delay for 2 years. However, Lin Yuan couldn't understand why there was a need to delay time. What could the Whale Ocean Trade do in 2 years? However, these were just Lin Yuan's guesses. In short, through Zhongzhe's words, Lin Yuan could confirm that Zhongzhe was not clear about the specific situation inside the Whale Ocean Trade. However, from Zhongzhe, Lin Yuan did indeed know a lot of information about the Whale Ocean Trade that he didn't know before. If he wanted to dig out the Whale Ocean Trade's potential goals, his best choice was to understand the situation through the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, which was cooperating with the Whale Ocean Trade. The Blood Oath battle between the Blissful Sea Clan and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was the crucial step to make the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden lean towards his identity as the Moon Empress disciple. When the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was completely reliant on him, he would be able to see through the eyes of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and see what exactly the Whale Ocean Trading Company was up to. After the meal, Zhongzhe prepared to bid farewell to Lin Yuan. The problem of misfortune on his side had been resolved, and the Burning Sky Roar had completely purified his bloodline. Previously, the Heaven-Burning Centipede had swallowed 8 high-grade heavenly flames and fused them into a peak-grade heavenly flame. Now the Heaven-Burning Roar could devour another 7 types of heavenly flames. Since the Sky-Burning Ho could control the top-notch red plum meteorite flame, it would naturally be able to control other top-notch heavenly flames. Zhongzhe thought to himself, if he could gather 8 top-notch heavenly flames, the Heaven-Burning Ho's combat strength would definitely have a qualitative leap. Zhongzhe also had an idea. Since 8 high-grade heavenly flames could fuse into a top-notch heavenly flame, would top-notch heavenly flames really be the end of heavenly flames? If he used the Heaven-Burning Ho's flame-tempering ability to fuse 8 top-notch heavenly flames, what would it be? End of this chapter. Chapter 1266. With that thought, Zhongzhe's blood involuntarily boiled. However, even if he was the Chef Supreme's disciple, it was impossible to obtain 7 top-notch deviant flames at once. Therefore, whether his idea could be realized or not would depend on the subsequent exploration of the Abyss world through the Class 6 Abyss Dimensional Rift. Zhongzhe was very confident in the exploration of the Abyss world. During this period of time, Gao Feng, Long Tao, and Sun Ningxiang had not been idle. The manpower that they had agreed upon was already in place. Zhongzhe was even more assured of Lin Yuan's creation master resources. It was definitely Zhongzhe's fortune to have a Class 6 Abyss Dimensional Rift in the Radiance Federation. Through the continuous exploration of the Abyss world, even if he, Lin Yuan, and the others could not find top-notch deviant flames, then, when the other factions found top-notch deviant flames, he could also visit and see if he could use resources to exchange for the top-notch deviant flames in the other factions' hands. Zhongzhe's sacred source life forms, the Heaven Scarlet Flame and the Heaven Burning Roar, had a large demand for deviant flames. As the Class 6 Abyss Dimensional Rift opened to the major factions, with the production of deviant flames in the Abyss world, his strength would definitely improve at a much faster rate. Zhongzhe, who had been tormented by misfortune since he was young, finally realized that looking forward to the future and having light in the future was a very blissful thing. Seeing that Zhongzhe stood up to bid farewell, Lin Yuan also quickly got up. He was prepared to send Zhongzhe to the mansion's entrance. The moment Lin Yuan stepped out of the main mansion's doorstep, he saw a light yellow fay standing on his cinnabar sweet osmanthus. It was an avian fay with a very delicate appearance. Lin Yuan looked at its scissor-like tail and nail-like beak. He was certain that this bird fay should be some kind of swallow. This light yellow bird fay was very pleasing to the eye while standing on the silver stamen gold luster cassia. Moreover, his mansion was within the royal capital. Even in the suburbs, there were very few wild fays that visited. Therefore, Lin Yuan subconsciously used Morbius True Data to investigate this light yellow swallow. Fay name: Coiled Fortune Swallow Fay species, Feathered Swallow / House Swallow Fay grade, Silver 3/10, Fay type, Wood Fay quality, Normal skills Frowny face Auspicious bond. Find a plant fay with auspicious characteristics and form a nest on it. Your quality will become the same as the plant fay you form the nest with. Fortune source acceptance. Consume the leaves and flowers of the auspicious plant fay that forms a nest with it. Absorb the auspicious aura in the leaves and flowers into the nest, and seal it in the nest. As long as the nest is not destroyed, the auspicious aura in the nest will become increasingly dense. Auspicious fortune. When the auspicious aura in the nest reaches a certain level, the bird's nest will release blessings of good fortune in the surrounding area, increasing the luck of the blessed creatures. Exclusive skill Noble Swallow. Before removing the contract with an auspicious plant fay, one cannot form a contract of any nature with any life form. The contracted auspicious plant fay can share the auspicious aura in the bird's nest. When he saw this fay, which was called a coiled fortune swallow under True Data, Lin Yun's eyes widened. Lin Yuan immediately knew what was going on when Ji Feng had said that everyone in the mansion was infected with an auspicious omen. This auspicious omen that benefited everyone in the mansion was this petite swallow with tender yellow feathers on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. This coiled fortune swallow, which Lin Yuan had never heard of, had truly shocked him. This coiled fortune swallow should be a mutation of some kind of auspicious swallow species fay. Lin Yuan had seen plenty of auspicious fays of various sizes. The mountain river eternal life carp that he had personally nurtured was a superior auspicious omen. A carp could protect the mountains and rivers, and ensure the peace of all living things. However, this coiled fortune swallow's ability was not inferior to the mountain river eternal life carp at all. In fact, to spirit chi professionals, the coiled fortune swallow was far more useful than the mountain river eternal life carp. Lin Yuan, who had seen the curse on Zhongzhe and Wang Fuxiang, knew very well that misfortune truly existed. If there was misfortune, there would naturally be good luck. The coiled fortune swallow's blessing could be transformed into good luck. It was the same as putting a layer of good luck buff on everyone in the mansion. It allowed everyone living in the mansion to be accompanied by good luck no matter what they did. Lin Yuan looked at the small pile of branches that the coiled fortune swallow had picked up from the cinnabar sweet osmanthus, and thought to himself, does this coiled fortune swallow intend to build a nest on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus? For a delicate fay like the coiled fortune swallow, if it did not intend to build a nest in the mansion, Lin Yuan really did not have any good ideas. The coiled fortune swallow's exclusive skill, high purity swallow, was destined that no spirit chi professional could contract a coiled fortune swallow. It was common knowledge that auspicious fays were difficult to nurture. Forcefully detaining the coiled fortune swallow might very likely cause its death. Moreover, if the coiled fortune swallow wanted to bless everyone in the mansion, it would first need to build a nest and fill the nest with auspicious chi. The coiled fortune swallow was unwilling to build a nest, eat, and accumulate auspicious chi. Even if the coiled fortune swallow was forcefully restrained, it would be useless. Since this coiled fortune swallow was silver 3, it meant that it must have formed a contract with an auspicious plant species fay. However, the bewitched fortune swallow had chosen to terminate the contract. It was either because that auspicious plant fay was already dead, either that plant fay was already dead, or the coiled fortune swallow did not fancy it. In short, no matter what, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus, which bloomed all year round and produced a lot of honey, was the best choice for the coiled fortune swallow. As an osmanthus fay, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus had a pure aura. In addition, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus was all about spirit focus, chi gathering and evil warding, which could make the coiled fortune swallow comfortable, so there was no reason for the coiled fortune swallow not to like it. More importantly, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus was legend. The coiled fortune swallow could use the auspicious binding pact to form a contract with the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. The coiled fortune swallow's quality would also immediately increase to legend. The increase in quality had a fatal attraction to any fae, and the coiled fortune swallow was naturally no exception. A creation master would need to expend a lot of effort to increase a fae's quality to legend, let alone in the wild. It was almost impossible to find a legend fae in the wild. Furthermore, the coiled fortune swallow did not need an ordinary legend fae, or a legend plant fae. It needed an auspicious plant fae. It was unknown how long the coiled fortune swallow had searched for a needle in a haystack before finding the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. No matter how he looked at it, the coiled fortune swallow had no reason to give up on building its nest on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. End of this chapter. Chapter 1267. The Radiance Federation's mid-spring weather had completely warmed up. People had taken off their thick and bulky warm clothes and changed into thin, unlined clothes. It happened to be a fine day today, and the clouds in the sky were like large pieces of cotton candy on a pale blue plate. The sunlight shone through the dense, pure white clouds and shone on people's bodies, no longer making them feel the scorching heat of direct sunlight. The warm sunlight was like a layer of clear glaze on people's bodies. When Lin Yuan, who was bathed in the sunlight, was observing the coiled fortune swallow, the coiled fortune swallow was also observing him. Perhaps it was because Lin Yuan had taken the geocentric jade milk and had been reborn, but the coiled fortune swallow was not very afraid of him. At that moment, the coiled fortune swallow flapped its wings and flew toward Lin Yuan's shoulder. The coiled fortune swallow's original appearance looked like a small swallow with tender yellow feathers, and was inconspicuous. However, when it spread its wings and took off, everyone realized that it had 4 to 5 goose yellow feathers. One of these goose yellow feathers was particularly prominent, and it was more than 5 times the coiled fortune swallow's body length. Under the sunlight, a few of the light yellow feathers gave off a sparkling and translucent feeling. Lin Yuan suddenly keenly noticed that there was actually a deep wound on the coiled fortune swallow's lower abdomen. That was right. In the wild, a non-aggressive avian fae with such gorgeous feathers would easily attract the attention of predatory flying faes. Moreover, the gorgeous feathers would also affect its flying speed. This coiled fortune swallow had probably just experienced a life and death struggle before coming to the mansion. The coiled fortune swallow should be flying toward him to ask for help. It hoped that he could help it deal with its injuries. When the coiled fortune swallow landed on Lin Yuan's shoulder, Lin Yuan did not immediately turn his head. This was because he could feel that the coiled fortune swallow's feet were not in place, and he could hardly feel its weight on his shoulder. If he turned his head now, he would probably scare the coiled fortune swallow away. Lin Yuan secretly circulated the jasmine lily's heal ability, and a stream of vitality gushed out from his shoulder to heal the coiled fortune swallow's injured abdomen. After Lin Yuan expressed his goodwill, the coiled fortune swallow slowly let down its guard. After a long time, Lin Yuan finally felt some weight on his shoulder. It seemed like the blessed swallow had finally let down its guard against him. Although the blessing Xiangyan didn't trust him, some small movements shouldn't alarm the blessing Xiangyan. With that thought in mind, he slowly turned his head. Lin Yuan turned around and found the swallow Lux Xiangyan looking at him with its head tilted. His eyes were half timid, half inquisitive, and there was a tinge of gratitude in them. Upon seeing the lucky Xiangyan's adorable appearance, Lin Yuan's face immediately bloomed with a refreshing and sunny smile. A gust of wind blew and messed up Lin Yuan's hair. His hair blocked his eyes, leaving only the corners of his mouth curling up. When a young man opens his lips and smiles, auspicious birds come from the heavens. The young man's smile was frozen in the sunlight like a painting. In the eyes of Wenyu Lujia and Zhongzhe, this painting was indescribably stunning. Today, when Wenyu, Zhongzhe, and Lujia first saw Lin Yuan, they all felt that his facial features seemed to have become more exquisite overnight. At first, everyone thought it was just an illusion. However, after careful observation, even if Wen Yu and Lu Jia could always see Lin Yuan, it was difficult to notice the changes in his appearance. They still found that Lin Yuan's facial features and bones had changed a little. The changes in appearance and bones often came from the improvement of the genetic model. It seemed that Lin Yuan had obtained a genetic upgrade in the Radiant Moon Palace last night. This discovery couldn't help but make Zhongzhe, Lu Jia, and Wen Yu feel a wave of pressure. As he looked at the blessed Xiangyan, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of that legend. If that legend was true, the ones who benefited the most from the blessed Xiangyan's arrival were actually not the people in the mansion, or the blessed Xiangyan itself. Instead, it was the cinnabar sweet osmanthus on which the blessed Xiangyan had built its nest. It was rumored that among the top 10 auspicious osmanthus phase, the vermilion beauty jade containing osmanthus had evolved from the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. This rumor had caused the price of the cinnabar sweet osmanthus to soar in the early years, and it could even reach more than 5 times its original value. But in the end, these buyers who cultivated the cinnabar sweet osmanthus and wanted to evolve it into the vermilion beauty jade containing osmanthus had all suffered huge losses. This was because the cinnabar sweet osmanthus was just like a rock, and there was no trend of evolution or mutation no matter what was used to induce it. In the end, a Class 4 creation master discovered that when the cinnabar sweet osmanthus absorbed the auspicious aura, its flowers would become even redder than before. This meant that the auspicious aura could promote the cinnabar sweet osmanthus's evolution. At that time, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus's value had already plummeted due to the cultivator's failures. In the end, the Class 4 creation master wrote his discovery into a paper and posted it on the star web. This paper made those who had bought the cinnabar sweet osmanthus and dreamed of cultivating it into the vermilion beauty jade containing osmanthus cursed. The auspicious aura was the foundation for the evolution of auspicious phase, and it was also one of the reasons why auspicious phase were so expensive. Extracting the auspicious aura from the auspicious phase was no different from taking the life of the auspicious phase. If the cultivators really had the spare money to buy a large number of auspicious phase, who would be willing to rack their brains to evolve the cinnabar sweet osmanthus to make money? In the end, the craze for cultivating the cinnabar sweet osmanthus slowly subsided. In order to prove his point of view, the Class 4 creation master had spent a lot of resources to buy auspicious phase. He had extracted the auspicious aura from the auspicious phase to nourish the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. As a result, every time a certain amount of auspicious aura was absorbed, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus would undergo a change. In the end, the Class 4 creation master had extracted the auspicious aura from 1000 auspicious phase, and still wasn't able to evolve the cinnabar sweet osmanthus into the vermilion beauty jade containing osmanthus. In the end, the Class 4 creation master had been so angry that he had chopped down the cinnabar sweet osmanthus that he had planted. He had even recorded the process of chopping down the tree, and posted it on the star web, becoming the star web's annual joke. At that time, Lin Yuan hadn't browsed the star web yet, but this annual joke had been posted on the forum that Lin Yuan frequented. Therefore, Lin Yuan knew about this matter. After obtaining a large amount of knowledge through genius, Lin Yuan could confirm that the auspicious aura could indeed induce the cinnabar sweet osmanthus to evolve. Otherwise, the cinnabar sweet osmanthus wouldn't have undergone a change after absorbing the auspicious aura. Lin Yuan reckoned that the fundamental reason for the Class 4 creation master's failure was that there wasn't enough auspicious aura to nurture the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. It couldn't reach the standard for the cinnabar sweet osmanthus to evolve into the vermilion beauty jade containing osmanthus. When the auspicious swallow built its nest on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus, it could use its ability to share the auspicious aura with the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. This allowed the cinnabar sweet osmanthus to have the possibility of evolving. If the cinnabar sweet osmanthus could really evolve into the vermilion beauty jade containing osmanthus, which was ranked at the top of the 10 major auspicious osmanthus phase, Lin Yuan would have another way to make money. End of this chapter. Chapter 1268. The juice of the great beauty jade cassia could slow down the aging process and whiten and smooth the skin. If the osmanthus honey of great beauty was applied to the face for a long time, It could even restore the youthful appearance of a person in their 20s. This effect was enough to make any female spirit chi professional go crazy. Of course, whether or not the cinnabar sweet osmanthus could evolve into the great beauty jade containing osmanthus still depended on whether or not this rumor was accurate. But no matter what, being able to evolve the cinnabar sweet osmanthus was a good thing. As a Class 2 creation master, when you couldn't immediately recognize the coiled fortune swallow's ability. However, Zhongzhe was already close to the standard of a Class 4 creation master. As soon as Zhongzhe saw the uniqueness of the coiled fortune swallow, he immediately stopped them from doing anything. He told Wuxia and Wenyu to remain calm. Upon seeing that the bewitched fortune swallow had let down its guard against Lin Yuan, Zhongzhe took the initiative to speak. "Ah Yuan, congratulations on having such an auspicious guest in your manor." Lin Yuan replied with a smile. "It's all thanks to Big Brother Zong. If Big Brother Zong didn't say goodbye at the right time, I might have missed this little guy." Lin Yuan was not being courteous, but his true thoughts. The swallow Xiangyan's abdomen was injured. The cinnabar sweet osmanthus's skill targeted the mind. It was unable to effectively heal Fu Xiangyan's physical injuries. In order to recover from his injuries as soon as possible, the coiled fortune swallow might fly out of the manor to think of a solution. Even if the lucky swallows had set their sights on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus, they would still return in the end. However, it was hard to guarantee that the eye-catching feathers of the good fortune swallow would not bring trouble to the good fortune swallow. If the lucky swallow died outside, then the fortune of everyone in the manor would slip away. After sending Zhongzhe away, Lin Yuan activated the source sand. Then a large number of black feathers separated from the source sand and formed several pairs of wings behind Lin Yuan. He flapped his wings and brought the lucky swallow on his shoulder to the cinnabar sweet osmanthus's trunk. He found the flattest part of the trunk and tried to grab the coiled fortune swallow on his shoulder. However, just as his hand was about to touch the coiled fortune swallow, it had already jumped to the trunk. She did not give Lin Yuan a chance to touch her. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan knew that the coiled fortune Xiangyan had let down its guard against him. However, the prerequisite for letting down his guard was to keep a safe distance from the Xiangyan. Lin Yuan did not care about this. Instead, he picked some suitable cinnabar sweet osmanthus branches and broke them off. He took a feather and cut the cassia branch into 7 or 8 centimeters long sections. He used these branches to build a simple nest on the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. Then he returned to the ground and withdrew his black wings. He knew that the fortune Xiangyan would not live in the nest he had built. He was only doing this to express his thoughts to the coiled fortune swallow, and tell it that it could build its nest here with peace of mind. In the future, if there were any problems with the nest, he could ask for his help. As a bird fey with extremely high vigilance, it was impossible for it to build a nest under their noses. Thus, Lin Yuan pulled them back to the main mansion. Upon seeing the dumbfounded expressions on Wuxia's and Wenyu's faces, Lin Yuan explained the coiling fortune swallow's ability to them. Wuxia and Wenyu had never thought that there would be such a big opportunity under their noses. If Lin Yuan had not discovered this opportunity and Zhongzhe had taken the initiative to stop them, they would have probably slipped away. This opportunity would have slipped away because of the two of them. This matter made Wuxia think to himself. It's indeed easier for creation masters to seize opportunities. Wenyu was thinking that there was a huge gap between her and Lin Yuan's creation master standards. She needed to touch the Fae and carefully investigate it to be able to figure out the ability, but Lin Yuan only needed to look at it. After nightfall, Lin Yuan quietly stepped out of the mansion. He found that the nest he had built for the coiled fortune swallow had been kicked to the ground by it. At the place where he had built the nest, there was a nest prototype made of a bunch of fine branches with goose yellow feathers. Lin Yuan did not disturb the coiled fortune swallow, which was happily sucking the nectar and pecking the petals among the cinnabar sweet osmanthus. He turned around and returned to the main mansion to sleep in peace. The next morning, after breakfast, Lin Yuan went to Star Web to meet Qi Heng and Qi Haitao, who had been waiting for a day. When Lin Yuan met them, his attitude was very unyielding. He could not be bothered to talk nonsense. He went straight to the point. "Yesterday, I heard that the two of you allowed me to state any conditions. You can accept any conditions, right? Qi Heng and Qi Haitao heard Lin Yuan's words and looked at each other. Then Qi Heng stepped forward and said to Lin Yuan, "City Lord, you are right. City Lord, you are right. No matter what conditions you have, you can state them directly. Our blissful sea tribe will do our best to fulfill your conditions." Although Qi Heng had a smile on his old face as he spoke, his eyes were abnormally dim. From Lin Yuan's tone, Qi Heng knew that Lin Yuan did not have the patience to negotiate with the blissful sea tribe. Next, Lin Yuan would state his conditions directly and would not give the blissful sea tribe any chance to bargain. As expected, Qi Haitao heard Lin Yuan say indifferently, "In that case, hand over all of the blissful sea tribe's industries and resources to Sky City. As the city lord of Sky City, I promise to help you win the blood oath battle against the Miao family's beast creation garden and give you a chance to live. As for where you will go, it will be up to you. In short, hand over all of the blissful sea tribe's assets." Lin Yuan's words surprised Qi Heng. Qi Heng thought that at the very least, Lin Yuan would let them stay in the blissful sea tribe and maintain the operations of the blissful sea tribe's industries. He did not expect Lin Yuan to underestimate the value of the blissful sea tribe and only choose to absorb the blissful sea tribe's industries. In that case, even if they won the blood oath battle against the Miao family's beast creation garden, they would still be chased out of the blissful sea tribe like stray dogs. Qi Heng quickly said, "City Lord, why don't you?" Before Qi Heng could finish speaking, Lin Yuan interrupted him. "My conditions are my bottom line. If you think that my conditions are not good enough, then you can have the blood oath battle against the Miao family. After the blood oath battle is over, Sky City will initiate the blood oath battle against the Miao family's beast creation garden. The blissful sea tribe will still belong to Sky City. As for what will happen to you, you know it best." After saying that, Lin Yuan stood up and put on a posture as if he was about to leave. Seeing that Lin Yuan was about to leave, Qi Haitao quickly knelt on the ground. He said to Lin Yuan before Qi Heng could leave, "End of this chapter." Chapter 1269. City Lord, we the blissful sea tribe will obey your request. We will do as you say. However, I have a piece of information here. I would like to use this information to make a deal with you, sir. In exchange for resources for our blissful sea tribe, we can start anew." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan lowered his head to look at Qi Haitao, who was prostrating on the ground, and felt a trace of interest. Since Qi Haitao dared to discuss a deal with him at this time, he must have some incredible information. Lin Yuan said indifferently, "If this information is valuable, when your Qi family leaves the Paradise Sea Tribe, I can give you 5 million radiance dollars as startup capital." Qi Haitao's expression flickered. The last time he came to Sky City's Star Web private faction territory, he was on equal footing with Sky City's city lord. Now, in front of the lord of Sky City, he had become a stray dog. As for whether he could use this condition to exchange for 5 million radiance dollars, Qi Haitao knew that he couldn't make the decision and still had to see Qi Heng's opinion. So Qi Haitao looked at Qi Heng. Qi Heng nodded helplessly when he saw Qi Haitao looking at him. The source of this information was right under the few islands that the blissful sea tribe had bought in the distant sea. Once Sky City occupied those islands, they would discover this secret sooner or later. If he could exchange it for some resources, it would be the best choice. However, 5 million radiance dollars were too little. Any bronze/epic fae could be sold for 30 million radiance dollars. As a Class 4 creation master, he could create 5 million radiance dollars in a day or two. To put it bluntly, Qi Heng was not interested in the 5 million radiance dollars that Lin Yuan offered. However, Qi Heng knew that he and the others were not qualified to bargain with the Castellan of Sky City. If bargaining now angered the city lord of Sky City, then the city lord of Sky City would definitely not help the Sea of Bliss tribe. In that case, the blissful sea tribe would be as good as wax. When Qi Haitao saw Qi Heng nod, he spoke to Lin Yuan. "City lord, there was a huge whale crash under the island that our Sea of Bliss tribe purchased." Upon hearing Qi Haitao's words, Lin Yuan immediately widened his eyes. Fuck. What was going on? Why did he encounter so many fortuitous encounters recently? The whale fall was a gift from nature to the sea. Even a small whale fall could bring a feast of life to the bottom of the sea, let alone a large whale fall. When hundreds of giant whale fays were buried at the bottom of the sea at the end of their lifespans, they would provide unimaginable nutrients for the entire sea region. It was enough to turn this deep-sea fish fay farm into a super fishery. Any fish fay raised in it could grow at the fastest speed. In the process of decomposing the numerous cetacean phase corpses at the bottom of the sea, the ocean currents would sweep a large amount of nutrients to the surface. The nutrients from the bottom of the sea to the surface could even give many aquatic phase the opportunity to evolve and mutate. In fact, a large whale fall could not only bring benefits to the fishery, it could also bring a major opportunity to the floating island whale in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. If what Chi Haitao said was true, then there was a huge whale fall under the island of the Sea of Bliss. In that case, his floating island whale should be able to hatch as soon as possible with the energy of this large whale fall. At the same time, he also obtained a lot of unhatched island whales at the location of the large whale fall. Lin Yuan looked at Qi Wangyang and said seriously, "If the information you gave is true, and there is really a large whale fall below the island, I can guarantee the safety of your Qi family for 3 years. 3 years is enough for the Qi family to make a comeback and develop into a rising force. At that time, if someone dares to make a move against your Qi clan, they will have to apply for a Blood Oath Extreme Duel. This will give your Qi family a chance to prepare in advance." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Qi Haitao and Qi Heng were confused. She did not understand what Lin Yuan meant by that. When Sky City destroyed the Miao family's beast creation garden, although the Qi family would not have the resources of the Blissful Ocean clan, their combat power would still be there. No one would come looking for excitement. Therefore, neither Qi Haitao nor Qi Heng took Lin Yuan's promise seriously. However, both of them put on a grateful expression and thanked Lin Yuan profusely. After the matter was settled, Qi Heng and Qi Haitao were about to leave. At that moment, they heard Lin Yuan say faintly, "That's right. The Miao family's beast creation garden has established a relationship with Whale Ocean Trading. They are currently cooperating with Whale Ocean Trading. I believe you should have heard that Whale Ocean Trading already has 2 experts who have become immortals. Don't spread the news that Sky City is helping the Blissful Ocean clan in a Blood Oath Extreme Duel. It's best if only the 2 of you know. When you go back, just treat it as Sky City rejecting the Blissful Ocean clan. If the Blissful Ocean clan leaks the news and the Miao family's beast creation garden hears about it, you will still have to die. If the Miao family's beast creation garden seeks Whale Ocean Trading's help, even if they seek Sky City's help, you will still have to die." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Qi Haitao and Qi Heng immediately understood what he meant. The Blissful Ocean clan's people were in a mess now. Someone might have secretly sided with the Miao family. If this matter spread to the Miao family's beast creation garden, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, Lin Yuan's tone was too cold. He only said that the Qi family had to die, but didn't the Emperor-class experts from Sky City have to die? Could it be that Sky City's city lord did not care about the Emperor-class experts' lives? Was it because Sky City had so many Emperor-class experts that they did not need to care about them? Or was it because Sky City's city lord himself was a scumbag? Lin Yuan, who had been misunderstood as a scumbag by Qi Haitao and Qi Heng, was actually not afraid that the Beast Creation Garden would seek help from Whale Ocean Trading. This was because before coming to Star Web, Lin Yuan had received a message from the Void Shadow Devil. The Void Shadow Devil hoped to undergo a Source Baptism as soon as possible, so that it could use the Source Baptism to break through to a Class 12-dimensional life form. There was still more than a day before the Blissful Ocean Clan and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's Blood Oath Extreme Duel. There was enough time for the Void Shadow Devil to undergo the Source Baptism and break through before the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. Therefore, when it helped the Blissful Ocean Clan in the Blood Oath Extreme Duel, the Void Shadow Devil would already be at the immortal level. Even if the news was leaked and the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden really borrowed an immortal expert's help from Whale Ocean Trading, the Void Shadow Devil might still be able to put up a fight. If it really could not beat it, It would be better to let the Void Shadow Devil hide in the shadows and not appear. In any case, with the Void Shadow Devil's concealment ability, unless an expert of the same grade possessed an immortal fae that specialized in scouting, otherwise it would be very difficult to discover the Void Shadow Devil's existence. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.